Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Under-20 Rugby Championship. It is the final game, and it is South Africa versus New Zealand. Last year, these two sides had an absolutely thrilling contest. It was 48-45. In the end, New Zealand were able to take that one out, but this year, the Boks are looking dominant. They look in a very good position, take their first ever Under-20 Rugby Championship. Now, this is the way that it seemed like the table sat. Now, as some of you will know, there was a bit of controversy earlier on in the week about the points situation. Now, this is how it would have stood if bonus points were awarded for 3 or more tries than your opposition. But there was a change before the competition started, and that was for 4 tries awards the bonus points. So this is actually how the table sits, and it isn't guaranteed for South Africa to win this rugby championship, although all they need from this game is to either stop New Zealand from getting a bonus point win or receive just a singular point for 4 or more tries or being within 7 for this matchup. As you can see, that points differential is thoroughly impressive. The only side with a positive points differential throughout this Under-20 Rugby Championship so far. We saw a very close game just come to a close between Argentina and Australia, that one being won by the Australians. So they no longer sit in the last place. They will move up into the second position with 7 points. And currently New Zealand, there is a chance of catching them, but they'll need a big performance from this matchup. Looking through, though, at the starting lineups for these two sides, South Africa were that impressed with how this young team played up against Australia last week. They made 0 changes to their starting lineup here. Quebecer as the number 1, Liam van Beek at 2, and Danny Creer slots in as the number 3. Teron alongside Riley Norton, the captain of this young side with so much potential. And tell you what, they will be looking forward to that Under-20 Rugby Championship, or the World Championship. It is just around the corner. Luke Cannon in the number 6 jersey, and the number 7 jersey, Wazi Viambuera. He got himself the man of the match from the last game up against the Australians. And the number 8 jersey, it is Marke, and he closes out what is a big, physical, dangerous forward pack for the Junior Springboks. Looking through at the backline, Yandre Skuman alongside Ahmed as once again the 19 combo. Rasifanga had a decent impact out on the left wing last game. Ethan Adams, he is in the number 12 jersey and recently announced that in 2027-28 he will be going to France, which will be interesting. But first he's got a season at the Lions. But we'll have to wait and see where that man does end up. Some thought he was a shoo-in into the Springbok, maybe as a bolter for the near future, but that man's got power. He's got the pace as well, the acceleration that he creates. For a big man, he shouldn't be able to go that quick, but he does. He's going to be a real handful for Haki Wiseman, the New Zealand centres. In this game, in the 13 jersey, it is Bittenhurst, and then also Jack Benady out on the right wing with Bokwana again at number 15 for New Zealand. They have made a lot of changes compared to what we saw up against Argentina. The losing effort from the Kiwis. Henry Stewart alongside Josh Finley and Dane Johnson as the front rowers. Max Farley, he started in the first game up against Australia, missed out on the second, but comes back in alongside Jake Frost as the number 5. Finn McLeod transitions from 8 to 6. Caleb Woodley back in at 7, and Patrick Moonga, he is there as the number 8. Charlie Sinton and Micah Muliaina, the combination that New Zealand have backed throughout this competition, get the start once more. They have gone with Logan Williams out on the left wing. He was used as an impact player off the bench up against Argentina. Haki Wiseman, the captain, alongside Pahulu in the midfield. Oliver Guerin, he moves from the midfield out onto the right wing with Cohen Norrie slotting in as number 15. But in the comments, we've got quite a few already. We have got Tuatara has said, I'm a die-hard Kiwi, but the South Africans are just too big. Are they fed a wildebeest? Says Tuatara. They are a big, solid team, and they've got the pace as well, which makes them so dangerous. They have to come in as favourites for that Under-20 World Championships, and they will definitely be favourites heading into this contest to take out the Under-20 Rugby Champs. We've got South Africa from Elizabeth there, and we have got there also another clap expected from the Baby Box, says Francois. South Africa win by 25, says Rugby Ready, and South Africa 43-39 up against the Kiwis. So going with a little bit of a similar scoreline to what we saw last year when these two sides played. Hey, Hamish, thank you for all the games you and have covered. Superb commentary, I say that. And I mean, it's such amazing talent. Says Sue Walsh. Well, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated, of course. Still got plenty more coming up in the near future, including this game that is only 10 minutes away from kicking off. It is going to be an absolutely incredible one. Or at least it's shaping up that way. But it is going to be happening in the very near future. What channel are you watching on for us here in New Zealand? We are on Sky Sport 5 for today. And that is the same one that we did see the Under-20 Rugby Championship game between Australia and Argentina on. And did Argentina win? Not quite. They got close. They almost managed to hang on or managed to mount the comeback, but in the end losing by 2 points. What was a very high-scoring, very entertaining game between the two sides. I was keeping an eye on it in the corner while we were doing the Bulls versus Zebre match. Of course, there is a URC game just about to take place. That is Sharks versus Benetton. We'll give you updates along the way of that contest as it is just now kicking off. But looking through at some of the history as well as some of the information about these two sides for the Under-20 Rugby Championship. This was last year, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, South Africa versus New Zealand. In fact, I've got a better graphic that we might go to instead. There we go. These are the head-to-heads that these two sides have had from 2025 and 2024. So these two top games were from the Under-20 Rugby Championships. The first time that these two sides played, it was 13-13. That was the game that took place on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. Then from their last year, it was 48 points to 43, the New Zealanders managing to get themselves the win. But later on that year, only a couple months later, New Zealand versus South Africa, the final of the Under-20 World Champs, the same competition taking place in only about a month's time. And it was South Africa who won it 23 points to the 15. So, the information is South Africa have never beaten New Zealand in the Under-20 Rugby Championship, but they have beaten them in a final. And this game kind of feels like the equivalent of one. If New Zealand win it with a bonus point without South Africa receiving any points, then New Zealand would win the Under-20 Rugby Championship for a third year in a row. If South Africa even so win one little bonus point from this game, and I feel like they're chasing the full 5 here, they would then take the Rugby Championship for 2026. But that Under-20 World Championship, it has taken place in the near future. The 27th of June will be the first day of that competition. Pool A is where South Africa find themselves situated alongside Wales, Georgia and Uruguay. Now for the South Africans, their opening contest will be up against the Uruguayans, and I would be very surprised if that game is anywhere near close with the form in the squad that South Africa have available. For New Zealand, they are a part of Pool B alongside Italy, Scotland and Japan. The first match for the Kiwis, it is up against the Japanese, which will also be a very entertaining game. They've got there determining the winner. In the event of 2 or more teams being equal on competition points for any position on the competition table, such position shall be determined the team with the most wins in the Rugby Championship. In the event of the above not providing a decision, that's a lot of reading. All it pretty much is if New Zealand win this game up against South Africa and they get the 5 bonus points like I mentioned, or they get the full points available, the head-to-head result will be what determines the Rugby Championship rather than the points differential. Points differential is the next one down. So yeah, it is the head-to-head, I believe, if that makes sense. They are just showing the starting lineups. A lot of changes for New Zealand, whereas no real changes for South Africa. In fact, the only change that they have actually made is bringing Kosa in off of the bench in their number 20 jersey. Everyone else is the exact same as what we did see. Oh, so we do have a chance? Kind of. It's a very slim one, though, for the Kiwis, but it is not impossible. They don't have to win off points differential. They just have to beat South Africa by more than 8 points. And they have to also make sure South Africa don't score 4 tries. And a side that has a points differential of plus 66 after 2 games, the chance of not scoring 4 tries on a nice sunny afternoon in this location is just very, very slim. But not impossible. South Africa have been very lucky that they don't receive or really check birth certificates. If you know, you know. Says Manu, well, I definitely don't know what you mean. We have got their Bok 32-21 to New Zealand, says one Pierre Bosch, but both sides now making their way out onto the field. Haki Wiseman leading his Kiwis out there. They have been far from their best throughout this Rugby Championship competition. They had their narrow victory over Australia in a game that they easily could have lost. But they got the job done. 34 points to 29. Then for the South Africans, they started off with a hiss and a roar, getting a great win over the Argentines. 48 points to 21 in that next round. We saw New Zealand beaten by Argentina. Now, they were beaten by the 8 points. Had they lost by 7, they would be sitting on 6 points at the moment and wouldn't have so much pressure on themselves to go out with a massive win here. And before South Africa, they did get that massive win in round number 2, 56 points to the 17. Remembering as well how quickly the under-20 landscape can change, this South African side lost to Australia last year. And you look at the turnaround, and also while we're at it, we've got to mention the other game. In the Under-20 World Championship, they won 73-17. That was only like a month and a half later than that other matchup. It just shows the pressure of different scenarios. And like I said, in the Under-20s, everything can change in an instant. You go out there one year with one side, you go out there the next year with about 15 different names. But there are some real X-Factor players coming through the rankings for these two sides. At the moment, go New Zealand, says Stefan. And there as well, the New Zealand national anthem, it is being sung. It looks like a few New Zealand supporters in the stands, but it is easy to see who a majority of the crowd are going for. You can see the green and the gold on the kits, and a lot of support throughout this competition has been absolutely awesome. I have to say, like, for a competition that isn't being shown in a lot of locations around the world, the crowd being there, the entertaining rugby that we've seen, just shows why it should be shown free-to-air in a lot of other countries, outside of the main broadcast providers, of course, which have all got themselves locked and loaded with those big contract deals. But do let me know your score predictions if you haven't already, ladies and gents. This is one of those games that a lot of people have been looking forward to for this weekend. It should be an epic clash between the two sides. And like I said, New Zealand, they have been yet to find their level that they would normally like to pride themselves on. South Africa, they have been strong from start to finish. They had a bit of a shaky half up against Argentina for their first match in the second 40, but they were already in control. There was no way of losing that match from there, so they took their foot off the gas pedal. But I have a feeling this one's going to be 80 minutes of going, hammered down, putting on the pressure, and trying to really make an emphatic statement of this Under-20s Rugby Championship. It would be their debut title, and they'd love to make it back-to-back with the world champs around the corner as well. The Boks by 15 points, says Michael there for the score prediction. I think that's probably not going to be a mile away. We have to wait and see the discipline side of things as well for these two sides. New Zealand getting heavily penalised in their game up against Argentina, although one of the worst disciplinary showings was from Australia in their game just last week up against the South Africans, getting penalised time and time again. Yellows, could have been a red thrown in there too. But Ahmed, he has shown a lot of class from that number 10 jersey, a lot of composure alongside that too. And some great options off the bench for the Boks too, with Vusi Moyo, someone who was a standout last year for the Junior Boks. He's instead been put onto the kind of more so reserve finisher game role. When start the game, 2 minutes time is when this match is going to be getting underway. But it's going to be a very entertaining one for these two teams. New Zealand, they are the underdogs. They are not quite used to being in that scenario. Ethan Adams is an absolute tank, isn't he? You just look at them in the national anthem. He has not got a huge amount of height to him, but he's just a battering ram in the way that he plays the game. His try up against Argentina was probably the best individual try that we've seen of this Rugby Championship competition. A great South African national anthem sung as well here before this match gets underway. We are now ready to go. Riley Norton, a man who you would think was 30 years old, who has played in 3 World Cups. He has that type of composure about him. That man is only still under the age of 21, but he has got a hugely bright future for the Springboks, potentially a future captain for the side as well. But New Zealand are going to be doing the haka before this match does get underway. Then we will be getting started in this game. Again, opting to go with Mika Fale off of the bench rather than in the starting lineup. I would have thought after the way that New Zealand haven't quite been able to cement themselves early, they would consider the more experienced head as a man to chuck out there early, but I believe they're saving him a bit for that World Championship comp in only a month and a half. And good luck the Springboks, says Clifton there too. Yeah, last year, 48-45 between these two sides. I am really hoping that it will be as close as that. I think that if either of these sides were to run away with it, it would be the home team. But I just want to see a little bit of fight from both of these sides. Haki Wiseman is at the front of the haka. And again, Ethan Adams just looks unfazed, standing next to Ahmed. A junior, I will win by 12 points or more. I assume that's the Junior Boks, right? Herbert. Then the Junior All Blacks. Guess the big question will be as well, will both of these sides get a bonus point from this match? As soon as South Africa score their fourth try, they have won the Under-20 Rugby Championship as well. Keeping that in mind, ladies and gents. Because of the way that the competition format is this year, you do get a bonus point for 4 tries. Whereas normally it is 3 or more than your opposition. It was changed before this tournament, agreed upon by all the teams. And it has resulted in us at least getting half a chance of seeing either of these sides going through and getting the championship. Whereas heading into this game with the old laws and the old rules, South Africa would already have the title in their pocket heading into this game. But they do want to make it 3 from 3, something that New Zealand were unable to do last year. So they did have that draw. They did have that loss. 1 second. Oh, no, sorry, it was a draw. They've actually been quite commonly drawing the Kiwis. There we go. These are the last 2 years. As you can see, New Zealand 2 wins and a draw. New Zealand 2 wins and a draw. No side in the Under-20 Rugby Championship has ever clean swept. And South Africa have the opportunity to do so here in front of the home crowd. I would have thought they had dropped the haka by now. Says one Beer Bosch. I don't think they'll ever drop it. As much as people like to complain about it, I think that it's still going to be around for quite some time longer. Same with the Tibi when it comes to the likes of the Fijian draw and also the Fijian pre-match stuff. The Tongans, they love firing up before a game of rugby, whether that's rugby union or league. Junior Boks will win by 12 points or more. Says Herbert there. But yeah, it's a decent crowd. A lot of people hoping to see their side lift that trophy. And they will be only around maybe 2 hours away from being able to do so. There is still another game around the corner too. It is Leinster versus the Lions, ladies and gentlemen. We will be covering that match on the channel too. So if you are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Referee Ella Goldsmith. The TMO Marius Jonker of South Africa. This match about to start up. The whistle has been blown. And South Africa will be kicking off from right to left in this Under-20s Rugby Championship equivalent of a final. Oh. Okay, Ethan Adams looked like he was a little bit rocked there, but he is all right. It looked like he went in with his head in the first collision and took a bit of an elbow or something along those lines. Tried to find a stream. Those sites are dodgy. Just watch Sharks game. I have your live up on the second screen. Says Yanko. Hello, Hamish Box to win. Says Vicky there. Now the ball here for Charlie Sinton inside of New Zealand's 22. Mika Muliaina puts that ball into touch. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because it is. He is the nephew of Mills Muliaina, ex-All Black, and also a man who has been helping out on the Sky Sports broadcast for quite some time for the commentary and the analysis. A line-out throw here for the South Africans, about 45 metres out from the New Zealand line. Rolling maul looks well set. It's a key part of this Boks sides game. In fact, they've got so many keys, which is why they are such a dangerous team. Now waiting for it is Jandre Schoeman. He looks like he's going to wait that little bit longer. It's now a penalty advantage against New Zealand for dragging it down. And the penalty will be awarded to the Junior Boks. I was in school with Luke. Same class for 5 years. I'm 22. Says Martin there. And good luck to Springboks, says Clifton a little bit earlier on. But now Ahmed straight away looks over to the captain, looks at the touchline, gets the nod, puts this ball into touch. It has already been 90 seconds. It felt like 10 between these two sides. I'm hoping this isn't going to be one of those matches that just fly by and all of a sudden it's gone. I think that there will be plenty of entertaining moments throughout it. I mentioned URC also taking place as we speak. Sharks versus Benetton. That one stolen line-out time from New Zealand. Good contact. And well handled by Micah Muliaina. Sinton sees that he has to use it quickly. Goes across to, is that Finn McLeod? He's decided to get his head into a bucket and dyed it throughout the week. But currently, in terms of that Benetton Sharks game, it is still 0-0 between those two sides. New Zealand clear their lines from inside of their 22. And Bernardi decides against taking the quick line-out throw. This one will be about 32 metres out from the line now for the Junior Boks, trying to play that territory game. Get New Zealand trapped inside of their 22. And no, it's not. Sharks just scored, says Yako. Well, that will update in the very near future then for myself. Now line-out throw here for Josh. Oh, sorry, not for Josh, for Liam Van Wyk. Nicely done. On away to the left-hand side, Ethan Adams now all crashing into the midfield of the Kiwis. It was Logan Williams who manages to make the tackle on him. Now Button Hurst. An advantage going against New Zealand for not rolling away. That is against Pahulu. Tackle on Bukawana. Now Marke. They are just getting told again that they have still got that penalty advantage. I'm back, says Kevin. Now Scorman. Across to Teron. Cross again. Ahmed sold the dummy as if he was going on the inside, but then took the contact instead. Scorman almost passes the gap forward pass on the outside, looking for another offload. It's a bit loose from the box at the moment, but cleaning it up on the 22. The tackle made by Logan Williams. Scorman still under that penalty advantage phase after phase. Referee just reminding them that they are still under that penalty advantage. Ethan Adams with the ball on the outside, and they will now go back for that penalty. Away match here, a long way to go, says Ruth. And I'm back, says Kevin. And there as well, but it was Edward Funamurva did score the try for the Sharks. Bahulu just not getting out of there in time. And Scorman, he knew exactly what he needed to do there with the body positioning. It looks like 3 points is going to be the call there from South Africa. Referee actually surprised with that choice. She had halfway walked away, waiting for them to kick towards the touchline. She just said to Ahmed that she didn't actually hear what they said. But it is going to be the 3 points early available for the South African side. To secure this Under-20 Rugby Championship, they need 4 tries. Where can we watch the match? Says Nicholas, it is available here in New Zealand on Sky Sport. In Australia, it's on Stan Sport. In South Africa, it's on Super Sport. So there are a few broadcasting options. Sadly, not too many that do have like non-paid to view subscription situations. If that makes sense. What we're quickly going to do though is with a little bit of luck, if I go like this, that did not work. Hopefully we'll get a clock going at some stage in the near future, ladies and gents. That kick has gone over for South Africa, making the score now 3-0 in favour of the Junior Boks. There we go. They're just talking about the weather that they've had to deal with in this region. And 5-0 Sharks head with Funderburver. Why do they go for the post and not the corner? I think they just decided the early points were a decent option. Now, don't get me wrong, this Junior Boks side, it's a rarity for them to take threes, but they've got the ability to still score plenty. They need a new coach. They're winning the Under-20 Rugby Championship at this stage. I feel like some people are just way too quick to try and sack people for no reason. You know, they're going to be potentially the first side to clean sweep the Under-20 Rugby Championship, and people will still call for the coach's heads. Now going off to the right-hand side, Micah Muliaina, knock on from Haki Wiseman, but they'll go back for the initial penalty advantage for New Zealand. And the question is, do the Kiwis also look towards the 3-point rather than the 7? Haki Wiseman's having a long conversation here with Josh Finley. And the New Zealanders are going for the corner. Fine then, the existing coach needs new tactics, says Rugby Ready. But yeah, if you look through at the history of the side from just the last 2 games, they've hardly gone for the 3. So obviously they wanted to settle the nerves, get the 3 points on the board and start to work their way into this contest slowly. 7 is more than 3 is all. It is. But then if you lose your line out like South Africa did their most previous one, then you walk away with 0 points on your scoreboard. So I think these guys know what they're doing, to be fair. And we've got to trust the process. Now going to the quick front line out there for New Zealand. They are over the line and they have got the grounding for the New Zealanders. They will now take the lead. It is the big man, Patrick Monga, who does score it from the number 8 jersey. They've said there that they're live, happy with the setup. And New Zealand need the bonus points, so no more kicking, or no point kicking for the post, says Ronald. That is true. They need to chase every opportunity that they have here. Still trying to work out how to get the scoreboard to behave itself. It doesn't want to as of yet. We are currently sitting 7 minutes through. See, that's why you go for the corner, says Rugby Ready. But once again, if you lose your line out, you don't get any points. Kiwis up for it today, says Neil Bester. And they're taking the horse by the reins here, says Ruth. Now, ready to take the kick here for Cohen Norrie. And that one's missed away to the side. Boks will start win once they wake up. Zealand Rugby ready? Well, you got to remember, we're 8 minutes into the game. And 3 minutes into the game, you called to sack a coach. So, they probably won't have the same points after 3 minutes as they'll have at 80. So you got to give them time. These guys are only young. They've got a lot of rugby ahead of them. They've got a lot of rugby ahead of them in this game. South Africa only need to stay within 7 of New Zealand despite kicking at the post. Still a gap of only 4. That is also very true. Gap of 2 at this stage due to the missed kick from the Kiwis. Now let's go to the box. Here's Brett. Now going into the pocket. And Micah Muliaina kicks it downfield already. They've talked about the real match feel to this kind of game. A bit of a test match type of feel here too. And Rugby Ready considered you taught, son. Says Neil Bester. And this was walk in the park. This game could be tested, says Kevin. 80 minutes in, and they will win by 25. Are you still sacking the coach if they win by 25, Rugby Ready, or are you willing to let them away with a 25-point win and a clean sweep in a Rugby Championship? Line out here for Liam Funvake. South Africans just inside of the New Zealand half. New Zealand once again competitive at the line out, but haven't quite managed to get that one with Jake Frost. Now rolling maul again, shaping up nicely for the Junior Boks. Still making the meters. Yeah, that one's going to be dragged down by New Zealand for a second time. They'll start to be towards that sort of warning area. Massive space in the middle of the field here for Buttonhurst. He's got the men on his outside. And now Bokwana, some fancy footwork. The man scores the try. And South Africa get themselves their first of the contest 9 minutes in. This has given me a little bit of a flashback to what we saw last year between these two sides. How it was just back and forth try, one after the other. Surely they get the comp to New Zealand next year. New Zealand or Argentina would be nice, seeing as there's 4 sides. This is the second year in a row it's been hosted in South Africa. I assume it's for the time zone. But, yeah, it'd be nice to see it go to a couple of the other nations involved in it as well. But in front of the home crowd, this South African team are looking the real deal. They go for 3s and the coach needs to be inspected. So they just went for a try. So are you saying he's back in the good books now? Yeah, the nice tries. There's Brett. Brett. But now 10 minutes into the contest. Oh, the scoreboard's just decided it's gonna look like it's gonna go. I think New Zealand should have next time. Says Kevin. It's a good kick from the sideline from Army, but it's just missed away to the right-hand side. It had the distance. That's going to make the score now 5 points to New Zealand and 8 to South Africa. Scoreboard flatline, says Big Ricky. It's slowly firing up, though. We're getting there eventually. It looks like it's trying its best, which is better than last time, because last time we had to update the whole thing by ourselves. So they will put that South African try on very soon. The score will be sitting 8 points to 5. Going up nicely, taken under the high ball there for the number 7 in this case, Viambuera. Now running it forward, Bokwana. He's fallen on his teammate. It looks like he might be injured here. He's stuck underneath the breakdown currently. Nah, he's back up. He's all right. Don't know why I'm so invested in this when it doesn't exactly matter, if that makes sense. Says Elfland. I think that both of these sides, they are definitely looking at that World Championship as the one that they want to claim. The Boks want to go back-to-back, but a Rugby Championship under-20 title definitely does look good in the cabinet as well. Now, Pahulu tackle nicely. The Bok looking for the steal. They don't get it, though. Hands were down first and came back onto the ball for Luke Cannon. Elfland the man. Says Neil Bester. The penalty for the Kiwis. We're going to change this so that it gets up to 8, seeing as it still doesn't quite want to give the Boks the try. There we go. That'll help. And we'll go like that. And we'll go like that. There we go. Currently in the Benetton Sharks game, currently still seems to be 5-0 in favour of the Sharks. Just a lone try of Edward van der Merwe has been awarded so far. Both sides in this scenario are out of the URC competition. New Zealand going with a short line out. Back across to the right again. Trying a few variations. Oh, a little bit of wrestling there going on between, I think it was Riley Norton and maybe Max Farley. Across to the left-hand side, Sinton. Goes to Finn McLeod. Oh, and drop ball there. Mistake by the try scorer, Patrick Monga, which now gives the scrum of the box the opportunity to show what it can do. I believe this will be the first scrum of the day, or at least the first scrum that I can think of that we've had between these two sides. It's just a basic pass to Monga, who was looking and just dropped the ball. I think he had a little half-by glance up at Riley Norton, who was charging straight at him. Timed it perfectly to run up there. And probably a box scrum penalty, says here Flan. It wouldn't be out of the question, I would say. And we have got there England 61-26 up against Italy in the Women's Six Nations. Events has been shocking from both sides, says Big Rig. Yeah, that's 87 points, isn't it, with, 20 minutes to go? Now, front rows both collapse, so referee will have a reset here. Okay, no one's gone forward. Both sides have gone straight down. There's the comment there, so it is going to be the reset. Where can we watch the match live? It depends on where you are in the world. If you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport 5. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan Sport. If you're in South Africa, it's on Super Sport or DSTV. And then outside of that, sadly, not a lot of options. Almost every 22 visit is ending in a try, says Big Rick. It might be a 100-point game then, the amount of time left. Now, Schoorman going to be holding strong here in the scrum. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened there for South Africa, but they had the ball on their side, and then I think it was one of the locks accidentally kicked it forward, and now New Zealand, off the win of the scrum up against the box, they kick it in behind, and they score the try there, the Kiwis. Out wide, it's the try for Oliver Guren. But the call of use it at the scrum, one of the box, I think, tried to shovel it backwards, kicked it forward into New Zealand's side of the scrum, and then the New Zealanders went for the wide backline movement. That was a weird one, but it does lead to the lead for the Kiwis in this contest here. Well, that was good. Says Alfland there. How many of these players actually go on further? Mighty Box or the All Blacks, says Kevin. Quite a few do get into that environment. I think the best way of doing it is to look at like an under-20 side from, let's say, 5 years ago. And you see the guys who are in there and the guys who are progressing through, whether that's the URC or the Curry Cup. The URC or the Super Rugby side of things. What channel is available on in South Africa on Supersport? Not working on 210. Hopefully someone will be able to let you know. I'd assume it would be on one of them, though. I'm told that that's the official broadcaster in South Africa. That one has missed away to the side. So the score will now be 10 points to 8 between these two sides. This is going to be like last year, ladies and gents. At least it seems that way, how it's just going to be back and forth. But that was a major mistake in the scrum from the Junior Boks side. They're normally extremely solid in that department. Players are way better than New Zealand. They're doing dumb things. There's Rugby ready. That's why I'm critical of the coach's tactics. What? Because they lost a scrum. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the All Blacks. Oh, a little bit of push and shove here. Eddie James was not happy with dropping the ball. Did I call him Eddie James rather than Ethan Adams? I don't know who Eddie James is, but that man's name has been on my tongue all throughout this Junior Rugby Championship, and it's really annoying me. It's on 210 right now, says Cool Story. And come on, babies, says Yasmin. And Lorenzo Julius scoring in that Sharks match. Miss kick from Siyaga again. I reckon Farley be a future All Black, says Alflan. Is that Max Farley or Mika Farley? I'd assume Mika, right? For the bench. Or Micah, I should say, sorry. It was initially knocked on by New Zealand. But I think it was the playing in the ear of the Kiwi that led to the penalty. Big chopping tackle low. Gets back up to his feet there, Monga. Now Sinton to the short side. New Zealand using their backs here. Haki Wiseman, the captain. Be happy with what his side has done so far, but the job is definitely not done yet. 17 minutes into the contest. South Africa still need 3 more tries, and that would secure the Rugby Championship. Bit of a counter-ruck there. New Zealand managing to just keep it on their side, though. I reckon, or Eddie James as a Scarlets player, says Big Rig. Yeah, he seems to sneak into the vocabulary quite often. throughout this competition. Looking for the steal there in the breakdown, and it is the clean turnover. New Zealand wanting it straight back, unable to do so, and nicely done. That one was Ethan Adams. And our boys are actually similar size to the baby box. So here's Al Flan. Now looking for the steal, and the breakdown was Henry Stewart. He is bumped out of it by the big forwards, the props for the Junior Boks. Kicked high from Ahmed. Chasing after it. A lot of ground has to be covered. Beautifully taken by Cohen Norrie. Goes for the kick in behind. Doesn't quite get it through the back three. And he's injured here. He might be knocked out. He looks like he's in a bad way here. He's taken a while to get back up to his feet. It's going to be kicked back by New Zealand, who are at the moment playing with 14 as Cohen Norrie does not look in a good way. Awkward bouncing ball taken by Rasifanga. And he boots that ball into touch. Hectic first 18 minutes between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, even though the scoreboard says 13. It's trying to catch up. And who support? More negative. South Africa or New Zealand, says Kevin. Depends on who you talk to. I'll say the amount of criticism that we're seeing for like these under 20 players throughout this competition has been like pretty brutal. And you realise like these guys are just out of high school. And they already have like a massive amount of people hating on them. For most of the time, no real decent reason. We have you there. It's a game of ping pong, says Big Rig. Okay, they're just doing a little bit of a review here of one of the New Zealand players. And yeah, Cohen Norrie. He will make his way off the field for an HIA. Online fan bases aren't a reflection of true fan bases, says Al Flan. That is very true. But now, line out throw here for Josh Finley. But Cohen Norrie off, and that will bring on more than likely, I would say, Kobe Brownlee. Or, no, actually, they might go David Luai. I believe that is the choice they've gone with, the 22. I'm going to see the replay here. It just gets his head slammed into the ground. The tackle from Benady. What channel on Waka does this play on? I am not sure, unfortunately. Sorry. I know for us here in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport 5, but that possibly doesn't help you out too much. Looks like we have a super duper match on. Yeah, this is the type of game that people were expecting when these two sides go head-to-head. Woodley goes across to Sinton. Now Micah Muliaina, Haki Wiseman getting dropped in a two-man tackle, almost knocking the ball on the ground. But him and Ethan Adams are just going to throw themselves at each other all day. Offload on the outside for New Zealand. Nice step inwards from Pahulu. 5 metres out from the line. Ball still there for the Kiwi. Sinton goes across now. It's a low tackle and a play of the 9, so the advantage goes the way of New Zealand. Good hands on the short side. Now only a couple metres short. South Africa strategically trying to hold him up in the in-goal area. That is the result that they have, but it will go back for the original advantage. Watching the Sharks, listening to you. See this cool story there. And the Brumbies took a step forward with the play. They played against the Force. Or with the way they played against the Force, sorry. Yeah, much needed victory for that Brumbies side. Definitely after some of the previous results. Okay, Haki Wiseman's just asking the referee. There's been a few penalties down this end of the field. Are we starting to look towards a warning? And she said, not quite. We're only 21 minutes in. But Haki Wiseman has decided that the kick towards the touchline is the way to go. Maybe Kane Jury is really focused on the future. Says Al Flan. I see there was good defence initially from the Boks to be able to hold it up just short of the line and pull him over. Now 5 metres out from the line here for New Zealand, who have tried a few set plays over their lineouts in this Rugby Championship. Finley goes in and it's well claimed by New Zealand. Big rolling maul here. The Boks trying their best to defend it. Only about a metre short, but it's over now. Looking for a grounding and she's found one, and it will be the try for New Zealand again, their third, as they step a little bit closer to a bonus point. But it's Caleb Woodley who has popped up with the try. New Zealand now with a 7-point lead here. Now, some of these boys are on big boy money, and that brings the criticism, but they're still just boys. Says Fleshin. A first time logging into this live stream. Are you from South Africa or New Zealand or another? So I am from New Zealand. We do cover pretty much the same amount of New Zealand and South African rugby on the channel though. And it's currently 2:34 a.m. here in New Zealand, so we almost have a South African time zone during the weekends as well with some of the hours that were awake. But a rolling maul try for New Zealand here, and Woodley reaps the rewards. This is a difficult kick near the sideline for Micah Muliaina. 7 points separating the teams. That one's high, and it's away to the right. Where has this junior black side been? Yeah, if they played like this up against Argentina last week, they would have only needed a win here rather than stopping South Africa from getting a bonus point, because that's all it takes. You can look at the scoreboard and say New Zealand are doing well, but the reality of this competition is if we see 3 more tries from South Africa, they win the Under-20 Rugby Championship. So in the second half, they may just go caution to the win, just absolutely trying to fly their way to the try line, which can lead to a very entertaining type of finish. They also just have to be within 7. Currently, the way that it sits, they are taking home the trophy. Kick downfield. Nice take there around the halfway line for Botswana. Now Ahmed going to go for the up and under. So I'm going to see a few more different tactics here from the Boks as well in terms of the kicking game. Nicely taken by Buttonhurst. He manages to get up higher than anyone else. Manages to claim the ball now. Offload on the outside. Knock on from South Africa though. Jack Benadi, I should say, sorry. I'm struggling with ref decisions. Am I wrong? As in for this game or like just in general over the weekend? I think this weekend, Super Rugby-wise, has been the worst refereeing weekend we have seen in the whole competition. How's it, Hamish? Craig from St. Francis Bay, Eastern Cape. South is back. Just finished work. Storm cleanup. Go the Boks. See, here's Craig there and try for Sia. Yeah, they're 15-0 up at the moment for the Sharks. They've changed their kicker. It's Bradley Davids now, and he has also missed in that department. 15 points to 8. The score that we are sitting at the moment between these two sides. And maybe the Boks have a hangover? Do you think they maybe celebrated winning the Under-20 Rugby Championship to then be told that they didn't? Because I saw a lot of reports saying they were victorious for the competition after round 2. And even myself, I thought no side could catch them. But the rule change that they had before the competition meant that that actually wasn't confirmed. And that 5 points was the separation. Now, Micah Muliaina kick this ball into touch. South Africa Rugby Media crowned them champs last week. Says Al Flan. Yeah, and then there was the awkward post from the Under-20 Rugby Championship or the Rugby Championship Instagram that said, hey guys, change of rules means that this competition's actually still up for grabs. When it comes to refereeing, the last penalty try from Stormers versus Ulster was crazy. Yeah, although it's always a tricky one with high tackles because I always say just tackle low. Another drop ball, this time from Ethan Adams. He bumped off one of the Kiwis but then just left the ball behind. And it's going to be a scrum advantage. New Zealand looking for the 50-22. It's going to be too much on it though. Micah Muliaina does kick it dead. Mistake made by New Zealand. They had the scrum advantage, so they probably should have worked with it. But it does backfire, and now South Africa have the scrum on the halfway line. Ethan Adams looks a little bit rattled here. It looks like he's feeling maybe the pressure or the fatigue. He took that very early big shot in this game. I don't know if he's actually been right since. But they haven't done any HIA or anything. But that first initial collision in the game, he kind of fell and stumbled backwards. I'm wondering whether or not maybe he isn't 100%. At this stage. Even when he's not 100%, he looks very dangerous with ball in hand, though. Dark Omen for the 4-game series. No, I don't think this one's too much to judge in terms of the All Black Springboks tour later on. Match is fixed, says Gaz. In what way? Like in favour of New Zealand or in favour of South Africa? And is it that the whole competition's fixed or just this game? Because if South Africa score 3 tries, they still win the Rugby Championship. So I guess that would mean that that's what you'd say that's not fixed for the competition, but this game is. Maybe. Poor performance so far from the Boks. We'll see in the second half. Yeah, their handling's just let them down a little bit for these junior guys so far. Looks like Ahmed, after the free kick was awarded to South Africa, they will just go for the high, up and under, waiting for this ball. It is outside of the 22, and New Zealand have to go up for it. It is knocked on again, this time from Logan Williams. Ball's going to be there for South Africa, 22 metres out from the line. Australian referee is all I'm saying. Well, I could probably counter with TMO from South Africa if you're going to go down that route. But if you're digging into where the referees are from already this early in the game, when the equivalent or the main factor in this game has been handling errors, you're probably digging a little bit deep. The final attacker in the Stormers Ulster game was brilliant defending. Did not deserve the result. Going low in that situation would have served no purpose. True, but you still can't hit a guy in the head with your shoulder, unfortunately, even if he's close to the line. Like, it's unfortunate for Nathan Doak, but we've seen them given as just that before. The yellow card penalty try situation. I'm rooting for New Zealand under-20s because I'm a rebel. Says Cool Story. 27 minutes in at the moment. 24 minutes through this contest. Oh, sorry, 24. What was I going to say? 24 points. I think I meant 23 points so far. Ethan Adams is concussed. They stunned him nicely at the start. Says Neil. I like that the New Zealand kids are cool with the South African TMO. Show some respect. Says Big Rig there. And to be honest, I'm not fussed about the Baby Blacks losing the Under-20 Rugby Championship as long as we beat the Junior Boks. Big scrum there from the South Africans. Didn't get a penalty advantage in that scenario. Now Ethan Adams trying to go through two men again. Haki Wiseman as well as Pahulu made the tackle on him for the Boks from Sri Lanka. And a drop ball. They've got the advantage. Oh, it's knocked on again. They're going to go back for the penalty. Above the sternum penalty goes against Siali Pahulu. That is one of the rules that they have got in this Under-20 Rugby Championship. Anything above the sternum area is considered as a penalty for a high shot. I would love to watch the rugby live, but we have to buy the complete DSTV stream pack, which is 799 rand per month, 80 New Zealand dollars. It's BS. I just want to watch rugby. They make it very difficult, don't they? Like, the good news about Sky, even though it's extremely expensive most of the year, every once in a while they'll bring out like a weekend pass for like a cheap deal or a month free or something like that, just to give some people the opportunity who don't have the subscription. Now another advantage. That is the third time that New Zealand has been penalised in a rolling maul situation, and this is now a double blow of the whistle, and I think New Zealand are now on their final warning when it comes to this department. Have 3 more collapses by your team. Next one goes. There's a comment there. So if you're South Africa, you kick for the corner here. And you just try and get that next penalty. New Zealand and Springbok are always amazing. Says Kevin. And now Ahmed. Going to kick this ball into touch. It will be a 5-metre line out here for the Boks. And again, New Zealand have really struggled to work out how to defend South Africa's rolling maul at this point in time. They have collapsed it 3 times, and I think South Africa have gone to it 3 times. So the mistakes have been made, and now another rolling maul here, shaping up for the Boks. They will get close, and they will get over for another try here. South Africa, their second of the 4 required to win the competition. A little bit of push and shove afterwards as well. The Boks playing like bad. Says Gaz. So is that like what side of it you're saying is match fixed? The fact that they aren't playing as well as they have? Is that the logic there? 13 points to 15 now between these two sides. We see it there, the rolling maul, New Zealand. The only benefit you can say from that rolling maul is they didn't end up getting a yellow card and a try against them. Because they easily could have with how they've been defending it thus far. Let's go the Boks, please try. Says Brett. Wasn't he just asking the ref to put South Africa on a final warning on the other end of the field? He was. And now his side are on the final warning. Now Ahmed has got that kick over. We're back to 15 on 15 in terms of the points department. And for now, we're still 15 on 15 in terms of players too. Now let's go to the ABs. Says Cameron. It's going to be a big comeback for the Junior Boks in the second half, says Herbert. Boycott DSTV Supersport. They're ridiculous with their prices. They discriminate against rugby people. Soccer folks pay 250 rand for all soccer. Rugby people must buy premium for 700. How's the crowd? It's a pretty decent crowd for this one, which is fantastic to see. And I think they've had brilliant crowds throughout all of the rounds, but this crowd is the biggest that they've had so far in the competition. Probably drifting towards that 10,000 mark, but leg pumping run from Riley Norton, 30 minutes into the contest. Now South Africa looking to use their backline. Ethan Adams passes one more out to Buttonhurst, close to the sideline, cutting back in as Bokwana. Now Schoorman on the way to the right-hand side. Looking for the steal. That's a good shot to the side of the head of Max Farley. Did have his head down in the breakdown, so I don't think it will be anything more. Another knock on from South Africa. Their hands must be slippery out there. And Liam Van Wyk this time. The man who puts it down, Micah Muliaina, slings on the pass to the left-hand side, cutting back in for the Kiwis. Logan Williams decides against distributing. It almost has the ball stolen off him. Sinton goes for the kick in behind. Someone back there for the Boks, though. And now kick in. It is Ahmed looking for the 50-22, and he has got it. Brilliant kick from the South African fly half. Thanks for the brilliant commentary, by the way. Says Andro there. Oh, they've tried to take it quickly. South Africa referee says wasn't on the mark. So they have to go back. And again, this is the perfect position for South Africa to get that rolling more yellow card for the Kiwis. I'm hearing the rumour that Dave Rennie ABs are prepping a new All Blacks haka. Is that true? Don't know. I haven't heard anything. But we'll definitely see a different look in All Blacks side under Dave Rennie, you would think. We have to go there for the Sharks. There's a decent crowd, says Cool Story. And currently they are putting up a decent showing. The Sharks in Durban, 15-0. The contest over Benetton. Now moving away to the left-hand side. Ethan Adams sits down the opposition as he always does. That was a big clean out in the breakdown too from the Boks. Now pick and go, Mark. There was a huge gap. Is it the try? Yes, it is. And now that is the third. What created a gap that size is the big question. Not Ethan Adams' initial run. It was something in that breakdown. I think it was a good clean out that left a gap the size, at least of Marke and some extra. And he just ran on through. How's it, Hamish? It's been a while. Thanks for the live commentary as always. Kids and I are enthralled. I must say the rule change midweek pissed off all of South Africa. Although it wasn't a change midweek. It was a change that was made before the competition that all sides agreed on. It was just, unfortunately, a lack of competence from Rugby Championship, as well as, I guess, people looking up scores and whatnot to realise that it was that, like, the change in the rule. Because I'm the same. I should have known heading into the competition. Right, TMO here to check why that was such a big gap, I think. But, yeah, like, at the end of the day, they mentioned about it. All of the teams agreed upon it before the competition got underway. So it was all cleared. It was all sorted. And it was just, yeah, a lack of media competence as to why it didn't get kind of said initially. They didn't go for the 3 at the start. They would be champions now, says Rugby Ready. Does anything in life actually, like, make you happy, Rugby Ready? Because you seem to do nothing but complain. No offence, but really offence is intended. We're going to see it here, the replay. What happens in this breakdown? Okay, so they're saying there that the player with the clean out and the breakdown is the reason that there was such a large gap. You're allowed to clean a man out, though, in terms of the breakdown, definitely if he's there. Rugby makes me happy. Well, you fooled me. We're seeing it now. I think that's going to be fine for the South Africans. Or is it? Oh, no try. They've actually awarded it as obstruction past the ball. Or past the breakdown. So it is going to be the penalty awarded to New Zealand. I did say it looked like a very large gap. What rule change? In terms of 4 tries gets you a bonus point in this competition rather than 3 or more than your opposition, which is how they had it the last 2 years of the comp. The Sharks must play the blind school in order to get a win. Sharks management ought to reimburse spectators for the past season. Although the Sharks will play well now because of the fact that they no longer have a chance. Right, Ethan Adams is down here with an injury, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like knee. And how is that obstruction? Because of how far past the breakdown he was. Normally you're allowed to clean a man out, but not like 2.5 meters behind a breakdown. And I've said that because of the distance taken is why it was such a big gap. And Bok management should have known. Lose this game due to a loss of focus. They are to blame. They should have told players to take no notice. Sharks aren't predictable at times, says Kevin there. I love the commentary. Amish greetings from the cool Durban. Bit harsh, but at the same time, like, it's understandable. I would say I really enjoy your commentary, not biased at all. Keep up the good work, thanks. Says Gary. Yeah, this is a big concern for the South Africans. Ethan Adams, I've mentioned it time and time again, best individual try in that game up against Argentina. He has been an absolute tank and an absolute workhorse in that number 7 jersey for the Boks. But he looks in a lot of pain here. This might be a season ender for Ethan Adams, which is such a terrible time for it to happen because we've got to realise as well, it isn't just this tournament. You know, it's not the case of, oh, well, he can come back next year. There's an under-20 world champs taking place in around about a month and a bit's time. And if this is a season ender, he's not going to be playing there. That completely changes the balance of the Bok backline. I mean, they still have Marcus Muller. He's out for another 3 or so weeks. Hopefully he will be back in time to be able to take on the midfield. They've got players like Cheswell Euster and Sayaya on standby, which is great news. I think both of them may be required for the upcoming World Champs. How's the new Sharks wing? Cheslin inspired a generation. Says, cool, sorry, is that Sayaya you're talking about? Because he is actually included in the South African squad. Although Siaya's playing 10, in that game. They've got Jaco Williams at 15, though, for the Sharks. He was in the under-20 setup last year. But we've just got a bit of a stoppage here due to that injury. Cheats, says Gaz. Who, for that disallowed try, or for the Ethan Adams injury, or for the referee's decision, or what's the cheat side of things? Surely in the All Blacks loss must sting you. Says Al Flam, but they have got Ethan Adams up on the stretcher now. You gotta hope that man's going to be all right. In a month and a half, it's not a lot of time. He's got the green whistle too. I would say this is either a knee dislocation, an ACL, an MCL, something along those lines, but hopefully a speedy recovery. Jaco Williams also qualifies this year. But he's not exactly a bad guy to bring in just in case. Ethan Adams waving to the crowd. But it's heartbreaking. Who faulted Ethan Adams, says Peanut Slab. It was a 2-man tackle on him. I'll have a quick look and see exactly who it was, as they did show a replay before. So it's the tackle, just a classic tackle from Max Farley dragging him down, and then Moonga slightly connecting as well. It was nothing in terms of a cynical play. It was just unfortunate for Ethan Adams there. Now we have got there Jaco Williams. Oh no, I read that one about still qualifying, but New Zealand do get that penalty for the obstruction past the ball, and that one's not even going close to the sideline. It's dropped by South Africa, but goes backwards, so it will be play on around halfway. Buttonhurst. It's the ball up once more. 35 minutes almost passing in this contest. About 40 metres out from the line for the Junior Boks. They need 2 more tries to take out the Rugby Championship, no matter the result. Now Skurman, away to the left-hand side. Ahmed, short ball, misread there from Logan Williams. Leaves a massive gap, but couldn't get the offload away for Luke Cannon. Now, he has a little bit of a reputation of not liking to pass. And I feel like that was another example there. Now backline movement here for the Boks. Vusi Moyo has also made his way onto the field. That is the replacement of Ethan Adams. It's not exactly a bad bit of news for the Boks in terms of having someone like a Vusi Moyo, who's already won a world championship, out there on the field now. 22 metres out from the line. Back across. Vusi Moyo passes on to Buttonhurst. He's going to be held up here. It almost turned into a rolling maul, but New Zealand not quite committing to it. Now Skurman across to Marker. He almost had his strike just before. He wouldn't mind the chance to get another one. Skurman goes to the captain, Riley Norton. New penalty advantage. That is going to be for New Zealand being offside. Skurman with the skip pass. Marker goes across to Vusi Moyo. Logan Williams bumped off again. Man's having a hard day making tackles at the moment for the Kiwis, but still on the attack. It's the big man Kubeka. So under that same penalty advantage here for the Boks. These two sides sitting 15 points to 15. Now knock on from Marker. They can go back now for the penalty. Double blow the whistle. They were warned here in New Zealand for the rolling maul. I think they're going to be warned for general play now. And it would feel a bit weird for New Zealand if they win the game. Then South Africa still hold up the trophy afterwards, says Big Rig. Yeah, although it happens in terms of the points side of things. If they ended up on the same points, New Zealand would take it, but more than likely South Africa would end up with a point ahead, even if New Zealand were to beat them in this game. Currently, the way that it sits, South Africa win the Under-20 Rugby Championship. Right, Ahmed's going to take the one closest to the sideline, and that is to go for the corner, who has scored so far for New Zealand. We've seen the try from Oliver Gurdon, and then also try from Caleb Woodley. And then, actually, they've got 3, haven't they, the Kiwis, because of the missed kicks. The other one was Patrick Monga. And then for the South Africans, they have had the 2 tries thus far. And they were from... who got their tries? And then the South Africans. Well, Marker almost had one, but it was cancelled out. One was a rolling ball, so I'd assume that was Liam van Wyk. What was the other try? Was it Buttonhurst? Now breaking off the back. About 5 metres from the try line now. Back across to the left. No penalty advantage just for now, though. So one of the first times New Zealand have defended the rolling ball successfully. Loose ball, not backwards. Skurman held up by Sinton. Now drawing pass. Ahmed drops his head. 1 metre short of the line. Little bit of a counter ruck. Bit of a fumble with the ball from the South Africans too, but it has gone backwards. And that is the key to success at the moment. If you're going to drop the ball, drop it back towards your own goal line. Vusi Moyo, cross kick, and it's taken nicely. The big dive too. And that is the third try. No, he's all right. Botswana, he went for the celebration, and then I think he tripped over, fell on his face, got back up, and then looked at the crowd as if it didn't happen. But it is the third try now. It is confirmed this time, I would like to think. But it's a cross kick from Vusi Moyo. It has led to the try being scored. Once again, we'll go like that. And we'll go like that as well. They're going to show the replay. It was Vusi Moyo looking up, and about 3 men could have really gone for that ball. If it wasn't going to be Botswana, it would have been Rasifanga. If it wasn't Rasifanga, it was going to be Jack Benady. And come on the box, please score. Hamish from Durban. I just tuned in. Seems like a good game, says Brian. Yeah, it's been back and forth between these two sides. I will clarify once again. Not Vusi Moyo, sorry, but one try separates South Africa from the Rugby Championship competition win. And that kick has gone over from Ahmed as well, making the score now 22-15. Who subbed off for Moyo? Ethan Adams. And it looks like a relatively serious injury that probably will leave him out of the World Champs, unfortunately, for who has been such a key part of this under-20 side. I think I should watch the under-20. I would say go for it. They're under-20 World Championships. It's just around the corner. Some of the games last year were absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe it's almost been a year since the last one, to be fair, but yeah, it's been a quick old rugby year. We're only 508 days away from the Rugby World Cup. The one's going to be put into touch. And now, line out here for New Zealand. Nice kick downfield from Vusi Moyo. Hasn't had a huge amount of minutes throughout this under-20 Rugby Championship, but as soon as he gets to go back out there showing the class that he showed all throughout last year, he's now considered as a bit of a veteran of this under-20 side. Now Josh Finley, line out here for New Zealand. They go to the front. It wasn't the straightest thing, and it has been called as such. So it will now be the scrum feed for the South Africans. Come on the box, try please, says Brett. Do you remember Shane Williams from Wales? I do. Which year was that? Was what, 10 years, or is that too long? And start shining the cup for the box. So here's Michael there. And also, how's it, Hamish? Objective commentary, mate. I should be on Sky Sports. Says Red Howe. But yeah, I think the benefit is for these junior players. Like, there's so many X-Factor talents, and you can just see the ones who are going to be able to step up to that next level. So, of course, it's awesome seeing them now. And you get to see them in 5 years' time making that international debut, or sometimes even earlier than that, depending on who they are. But it's always such an awesome match. I've mentioned it time and time again, and I'm going to continue mentioning it as well. 48-45 last year between these two sides, the last game of the Under-20 Rugby Championship. Best game of Under-20s Rugby I've ever watched. And I will continue to say that because I don't think anything's beating it. Now, Ahmed goes back across to the right-hand side, going away to the big man in the number 1 jersey. They still get the penalty advantage from scrum time. I think that it's not a mile away from going away. 40 seconds remain of this first half. South Africa, can they secure the Rugby Championship competition before halftime? Not with a carry like that. Ball has been dropped, but they'll go right back for the initial scrum penalty. Dropped it there, Rumbo Quebecer. They do get to go right back for that scrum penalty. 20 seconds remain in the first half of this game. It's gone very quickly. We've still got another game around the corner. That'll be Lions in their matchup up against Leinster. We will be covering that one on the channel too. We are also covering the Under-20 World Champions, or the Under-20 World Championship, I should say. See, anyone who hasn't already, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Currently, the Sharks, they are winning 20 points to 0. And Edward Funamurva is the man who scored the last try of the half. That is his double. And go comeback box. Here's Craig, halfpenny fullback from Wales, retired. He even had a season at the Crusaders, didn't he, old Lee Halfpenny? Although he got injured very early and then was out for the rest of the season, I think. He also had a season-ending injury for Wales not too long ago. I think up against Argentina, about 3 years. I have deja vu for some reason over this game. So here's Al Flan. It's going to be knocked away on the side of New Zealand. They are currently down by 7. And it looks like they're going to try and go for one last attack before the end of the half. It was a rough pass. It's going to be kicked downfield. I don't think that was the best choice at all. South Africa claiming this ball. Jack Benady, he will kick it into touch. And that will end the half. And Burka had major rainfall and floods this week. Yeah, they mentioned about how one of the trainings midweek were cancelled for, I think they said the Kiwis were the team who had to cancel the training. But it's surprising how well this turf is holding up because of the weather that we've seen in the recent times. But half-time, 3 tries apiece, 22-15. And a game was still a brilliant second half around the corner. Predicted a draw for the Sharks on Super Brew. You're really going to need Benetton to step up then because they have 2 yellow cards already in the contest. The only benefit you've got is the fact that for some reason the Sharks can't convert tries in terms of the extra 2. It's a great commentary as always, Amish, thanks. See, here's Brett, no worries at all. And yeah, we've got plenty more coming up. Where are they playing? It is in Burka in South Africa. So the same location. I think it was the same location as last year's Under-20 Rugby Championship. There are 4 different nations in the comp, but only 2 nations have hosted across the 3 years. First competition took place on the Sunshine Coast. And cold front arriving in Cape Town. My guinea fowl are extra hungry in the cold. And none says Craig. And also come on the All Blacks. So here's Manny. And there too. But I do want your predictions, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of the Under-20 World Championship. Who are you picking to win the whole thing? Are you going for the spring? Actually, that's probably a dumb question. Because I feel like the ones who are going for New Zealand will probably say New Zealand. The ones who are going for South Africa will probably say South Africa. And Bernarda is the pronunciation of the right winger's name. We have you there. You support the Crusaders? No, not really. I'm closest to the Crusaders in terms of geographically. But like I don't really have a team in Super Rugby. Although, conveniently, poor timing as well in terms of asking about the Crusaders support. Because I'm going to the Crusaders Chiefs game. But I don't actually know who I'm going for in that scenario. Chiefs trying to make that burst towards number 1 on the table. Whereas the Crusaders, they kind of need that game to have a chance of a home final. Or at least a home playoff game. What do you make of Dave Rennie? He seems all right, doesn't he? I think that way too many people have already written him off. Even though he hasn't even selected a squad. He hasn't selected a captain. He hasn't played a single game as coach for New Zealand. But people are already saying, sorry, not the right man for the job. But I think that's just the way people are now. They complain about anything. We have there, Liam Williams just retired as well, says Fleshin. It doesn't surprise me. He's been around a long time, Liam Williams, hasn't he? And I feel like that one was due at some stage. And come on, only one team to choose. It's the one with Will Jordan back. So yeah, it's Al Flan. I got a picture with Will Jordan the last time we went to a Crusaders game, to be fair. But that was Crusaders Highlanders. So again, it's just New Zealand derbies are the ones that we end up going to. How do I find a picture? In fact, no, I remember because I know what date it was. We're going to a game exactly 1 year after we went to the last one. So that means it's in May that picture would have been taken. I almost butchered it because I asked if I could take a photo and he said, yep, all good. And then rather than clicking the take photo button, I clicked the turn off the phone button. So it almost didn't happen. But there he is. There's old Will Jordan and myself. Can't really see it too clearly. But he was actually injured during that stage. But luckily, he's not injured this year. Do you guys think playing faster Super Rugby style is better or not as good as having actual TMO and slowing down kind of rugby? I think we've seen one of the worst rounds in terms of refereeing for the Super Rugby this round. So that's not ideal. And I first went to a game at the new stadium and it was good. I might go to Crusaders versus Chiefs as well. If you haven't already got your tickets, I'd recommend getting them soon. That Blues game sold out on the last day, but I think Chiefs Crusaders will sell out earlier. And Colbick says Mill. And I was Aaron Cruden as my boyfriend, says Jasmine. And scoreline flatters New Zealand under-20s, says Gaz. My question to you, Gaz, because it doesn't take a lot to pick up on it, is it that you either fully support South Africa or you just hate like the other teams that they're playing. Because so far throughout this live stream, you've said that the game has been fixed. You've said New Zealand are cheats. And now you're saying like that's flattering New Zealand. So is it the pure support for South Africa or the pure hatred for every other country out of those? Oh, I guess it could be both, couldn't it, actually, to be fair? We over there, I heard Geordie Barrett is retiring. I don't think he is. He's still quite young. He's 29 years. Bowden might not be a mile away from the international retirement, but I think Geordie's still got a good 5 years in him. And to be fair, if Super Rugby and whatnot don't want him, I think Leinster will take him back. They were more than happy with what he was able to do throughout the year, but we are just seeing the tries that were scored. Botswana has got 2, and then also the other try for Liam van Wyk. Just curious, but is Mike by any chance related to All Blacks legend Mills? He's the nephew of Mills Muliaina. But yeah, playing in that number 10 jersey. Hasn't been going too badly. There's a few second and third generation boys out there on the park. What do you make of the news that Richie Mo'unga will not be coming on the greatest rivalry tour? Zealand Rugby is completely screwed. New Zealand Rugby NZ must get comfortable losing to South Africa because they don't want to win. The thing is, people are acting like it's news. It's been known for ages. Like, we knew that as soon as Richie Mo'unga signed the deal, that for him to be able to play in any series beforehand was very unlikely because he has to get his minutes up in the NPC, he has to play on New Zealand soil, and he was always going to be first eligible in November. So I feel like a lot of people missed that memo because just today's been when everyone's been starting to get really upset about it. But it's been known for like 4 months, ever since he announced that he was coming back to Super Rugby. Nice to see Willie Hyena on the pitch. Says Power Owl, or Power... Is it Power Owl or is it Power AI? It'll be one of the two. We have got there. I want to start gym. Have you gone gym? No. I once went to the gym. The fire alarms went off. The cop showed up. And then I decided, you know what? Gyms are stressful. But, yeah, I have to do something soon. Cricket season's coming up and I'm very unfit. Thanks, my king, says Johnson. And Geordie is world class, says Marco. And there as well. And Geordie Barrett is why this game is fixed. Currently, the crowd, they are having a lot of fun. And the stands go, Bockies go. So here's Dumpy there. And it is Al with the L there, okay. So it is Power Al. But second half, do let me know your end score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa only need one more try. And if they are able to get it, they would win this under-20 Rugby Championship no matter the result. But Hamish, why does the New Zealand Rugby have stupid rules? Why don't you allow the international players to play? Did some research, and New Zealand has about 200 plus absolute world-class players outside of New Zealand. It's just the way they are. And, like, I don't think anyone is actually, like, arguing that they should take away the overseas ineligibility. I think the problem is that they have their rules and they have their stipulations and they probably have their deals with Super Rugby in terms of what type of numbers they have to hit for viewership, and that's the reason behind it. But it's like how everyone's now saying New Zealand Rugby should step in and stop Whihi Whinianofo from going over to the Newcastle Red Bulls. But the way you do it, I would think, is you just say, you know what? Up until the World Cup, all overseas players are eligible for the All Blacks. Would do a trial run. Then after that World Cup, that's when you can go back to this whole like early 2000 stage of no one's allowed to play overseas because they must play in New Zealand. Like you stick them in the opportunity to make some money before a World Cup. You put together your best squad into a World Cup campaign. And then if they lose, they lose. But if they win, you go, right, that was probably a good test. And then you look at changing it after 2027. But they're too stubborn and they're too set in their ways that nothing will change their mind until it's literally drummed into them. And my score at the end, 40 points to 30 to the Boks for the win. Says Brett there. Imagine if New Zealand turns this game around and wins the game 56-33. If that was the case, South Africa would still win the Under-20 Rugby Championship, but of course it wouldn't be the clean sweep, something that we haven't seen any side do as of yet in this competition. We got there 47-21 to the Bockies. Says Dane for the score. And Geordie come play for the Scarlets. He wants to retire. We have a few Irish pubs. See us fleshing. I think New Zealand must get comfortable never winning another World Cup because Rasi is building a dynasty. Says Cameron. Jacob Umaga got a rare card. Did he? I saw he got a yellow initially, so it must have got an upgraded, did it? Fish and chips or burger and chips? I like a good fish and chips. I don't actually really like fish, though. But battered fish is all right. But that's what works so well for the Boks, working with a group of 50, 70 players who play around the world. Says Power L. Yeah, like Rasi will go out of his way to host like the overseas players in like a conference meeting type of thing to keep them informed about what's happening. Whereas New Zealand, they go, oh, if you don't play in New Zealand, you don't count. You know, you're not going to get any sort of chance. Mark my words, the Springboks, a big slump after Rasi leaves, says Alflan. I was looking at ticket prices for New Zealand versus Boks. I was shocked at the prices. It's simply too much for me and 4 family members. Average ticket price is £320. That's brutal. Like, and that's the slight problem. They know that there's going to be demand, so they're going to bump up the prices. It's the same when games take place at Twickenham. You know people are going to pay like crazy numbers to be able to watch the games. Those prices of the tickets when they play in the US, they will be really high as well. But, you know, by bumping up those prices, you just take away the family from going to a game of rugby and getting to experience, you know, that type of action in person. I have here Kiwi pie is good. Kiwi pies are pretty good, I would say. Steak and cheese is probably my go-to. Even just a steak, to be fair. I don't mind just a plain old steak. Oh, chat says on the right, welcome in. It's been a little while on the right, so I hope you are keeping well. And Cameron France, I might have something to say about that in 2027, says Demon the 11th. Every man loves fish, says Seller. I mean, I wouldn't eat fish if it wasn't battered and deep fried. Like, I can think of many things I would rather have than like even salmon. I'm not a fan of salmon. It's just something about it. That's why New Zealand Rugby is wrong. You need international experienced players for your national team, says Brett. And a 14-man South Africa absolutely destroyed France and France. So here's Cameron. Are we covering the Lions game? We certainly are. Lions versus Leinster. That one's going to be kicking off in an hour and 18 minutes time. And my boy Quebeca representing us and Lady Smith. He's had a good solid game so far. And a good solid tournament, to be fair. Always in the action. Loves a good scrum too, by the looks of him. But currently, the way that it sits, New Zealand would finish dead last in the Under-20 Rugby Championship, ladies and gentlemen, if this is the end scoreline. It would mean that they get a bonus point, but they would only move up to the 6 points. Australia and Argentina are both sitting on 7. South Africa in possession of the ball. We're back underway, given that South Africa breeds enormous OKers. What age qualifies for under-20? South Africans hit protein-fueled puberty at age 7. So pretty much as long as you're under the age of 20 at a certain date, like there are a few of the guys who would be probably 20 years old in this competition now, but as long as you're under 20 at a certain stage, you do qualify. Great take under the high ball from Rasifanga. He's running down the wing, but Logan Williams manages to get the tackle on him, looking for the turnover as well. He's knocked it on the ground. Doesn't look like he's going to be penalised. Nor is it going to be the knock on. Vusi Moyo. Cross kick there for Beneda. Bout on the wing. Manages to cut in. He's got a bit of work to do before he can get to that try line. Again, I will reiterate. South Africa, if they score now, they win the Under-20 Rugby Championship. There was Quebeca. Passes to the right-hand side. Now moving it on again. Vusi Moyo. Quick hands and the Under-20 Rugby Championship champions are South Africa with Samuel Badenhorst scoring it there. The bonus point secured. And now no matter what happens, that'll be a very confident boosting way to start the second half here. As now South Africa, they can chill. They won't. They'll keep on going. They'll try and bring up a massive scoreline here. Try and make a bit of a statement. But no matter what, the trophy's in the cabinet. And we have there coming the Bockies, says Bruce. And we love Biltong in South Africa. And I'm on holiday, so I have time for rugby in Cyprus. And we have there the runaways here, says Demon the 11th. And also the South African side will reach its peak this year. Says Demon the 11th in there as well. And only a month and a half away from their Under-20s Rugby World Championship. And France was able to beat, or wasn't able to beat the Boks in France in 2023. So we'll do even worse in 2027. Says Albert. We have got there the South African flags. There was no doubt South Africa won by 20. What happened to 25? You said 25 earlier, Rugby Ready. Why are you doubting your team? 14 points difference. So I think that I would be surprised if they... This is going to be a bold statement, but I think that start, if that's the mindset that they're coming out with, be surprised if they don't win by 26 or more. And New Zealand will need to answer straight back. They don't want to finish last in the Under-20s Rugby Championship standings. Big knock-on from the Kiwis and a knock-on from South Africa as well. It was Rambo Kobeka who does drop it for the Boks. I think it was Logan Williams going for it. We all know each over-the-counter supplement in South Africa contains anabolics. So these oaks are sure on the juice, says Cameron. And it's 25 is my prediction, says... Rugby Ready and the future of South Africa Springboks looking good, says Josie. And yeah, now the big thing for South Africa is get through this game without injuries. But they went for 3 at the start, says Rugby Ready. You're going to hold that grudge up against them probably till the end of the Under-20 Rugby World Champs, aren't you? You're going to say, I remember when they only took 3 points. They still won. They still got a bonus point. But... that time that they took the 3. Penalty awarded to South Africa at scrum time. That one's going against Josh Finley for losing the footing. Now 44 minutes through this game. Vusi Moyo. You need to kick this one into touch. He's had quite the impact since making his way onto the field. In fact, they've scored more tries since he's been out there. Or equal tries since he's been out there than before. And I think only New Zealand and the Boks are true contenders for 2027. Scoreline flatters New Zealand under-20 says, Gaz, you never answered my question from earlier on, Gaz, either. I don't know whether you were listening or not. We have got there, Rugby World Cup 2027 coming up soon. Think any of these lads will play. I'd be surprised. 2031, though, I think we're going to see a lot of these names in the squads. That one's going up. Awkward bouncing ball. Ahmed. It was accidentally offside from Haki Wiseman. Though it does seem like it's going to be play on as goal. Is Ethan Adams still on the field? No. Probably season-ending injury for Ethan Adams in that first half. Looked like he had destroyed his knee. So he probably isn't going to be playing for the rest of 2026, realistically, unless he got very lucky and only slightly tore something. And we have their bigger guys in rugby, Fiji and Samoa in rugby, says Kevin. Now, drop ball from Logan Williams, not backwards. Micah Muliaina cleans it up over the ball now. It looked like it was close to the turnover. Now short ball from Finley. Stepping now as Pahulu. No matter what happens now, the Rugby Championship is secure with the Boks. That is correct. No matter what changes here, the only thing will be if New Zealand manage to get themselves the 2 bonus points from this game for 4 tries and losing by less than 7, they would move up to 3rd in the standings. And then Argentina would be 2nd. And then Australia would be last, I believe. And nice one, boys. I can't wait for the World Championship. Good luck to the All Blacks for the rest of the half. So here's Johnson. And we have there France, Pumas, England, Ireland. And that one's going to be booted into touch. 46 minutes through. Plenty of time, but it's a good hoofing boot downfield from Bokwanu, who's already got himself the double in this game. And Bolanda playing EP Elephants. One of the Boland players and his family staying with us for the weekend, hoping they win. Where's the World Championships being held? I think it's in Georgia. From what I remember. Yeah, it's in Georgia, that competition. So I think that's why they went with the Under-20 Rugby Championships again in South Africa, was for the time zone side of things. I'm not a fan of the South African commentators. So here's Al Flan. And I love how the rest of the world have been dismissed for 2027. The ABs are only being lined up to lose the final, which is surprising. Because like people saying New Zealand are going to go far, I think don't realise the chance of New Zealand-South Africa as the quarterfinal is very likely. Now I'll wait to the left-hand side. Nice step there from Logan Williams. Oh, above the sternum. Another penalty going to go against them that time. It's Ahmed. It's been penalised for that one. The apology there. In fact, there might have almost been Luke Cannon. No, it was Ahmed. They blame Cannon, though, which is a bit rough. Now, line-up throw here for New Zealand, chasing the bonus point. Of course, a clear-out win for New Zealand in this game would not win them the Rugby Championship, but it would secure themselves second place in the overall standings. Doesn't matter if it's the quarter or final or the quarterfinal. Boks will beat New Zealand in 2027, says Rugby Ready. I think you missed the point of what I said. I think you just heard what you wanted to in that scenario. But now, rolling maul here for Josh Finley. That one's going to go down. It looked like a knock-on the ground now, close to the try line, trying to stretch out. Not quite able to get there. Just short by a metre. Now, pick and go Mo'unga wanted his second, couldn't get there. Kiwis have got Caleb Woodley wanting it on the short side. So is McLeod. He's over the line. New Zealand do get their bonus point. They get that little bit closer. Oh, Riley Norton's trying to say that he held that ball up. Second half of the game is going to be a very tough finish, says Herbert. Right, Riley Norton is sure that he has held this ball up. Finn McLeod would be his second try of the Under-20 Rugby Championship. But what happens here? They're going to check it. Okay, they've checked that the try is good. Nice one, babies, win this game. For this never will be a granny. And we have got the South Africa to lose New Zealand in the quarterfinal. So here's them in the 11th. How long? At the moment, there is still plenty of time remaining in this contest. But, once again, no matter what happens, the trophy's in the cabinet. New Zealand could win this game from here by 30 points. Would not matter. It would still be in the cabinet for the South Africans. Micah Muliaina is sitting 0 from 1. Now he's sitting 1 from 2 as the kick has gone over. It's going to make the score now 29-22 between these two sides. Not so far as said no try. Why is it no try? They have cleared it. They've said that they've got the grounding. And it was for Finn McLeod. Congrats, boys. Says Kawud Plummer. Yeah, just slammed down over the line. England won in 2000, or in England 2003. Says Albert. Didn't they win in Australia in 2003? We lose World Cup, not the end of the world, says Kevin. How many minutes left on the clock? That clock looks broken. So currently 31 minutes remaining in this matchup. And beat Australia in the final in their own backyard. Was a great game, went down to the wire. Right, the changes being made now for South Africa. A couple of the players off of the bench. Getting the opportunity. Marke will make his way off. He did only make the one change in terms of the bench players for this game as well, compared to that last match up against the Australians, and that was Kosa. That looked like it was close to a knock-on from New Zealand inside of their 22. It has rolled us backwards. And now being told to use it. Sinton goes back into the pocket to Micah Muliaina, almost charged down by Badenhurst. It's been put into touch. As the first time they win the championship? Correct, yes. So this competition, it is on its third year. New Zealand won the first two. South Africa will now win the third. And if they win this game, they will have the clean sweep, the first ever clean sweep of the Under-20 Rugby Championship. Australia will never win in the 2027. The Boks don't win the World Cup. I'll root for the rest of the Southern Hemisphere brothers to win it. And Wafunamova did nothing wrong except being born in the era of Colby, Kirtley and Moody. Says on the right, and a penalty awarded to New Zealand there in the breakdown side entry from Buera. Yeah, like there are so many great players who were born at the wrong time, if that makes sense. Like, you've got guys who wait patiently their whole careers for the opportunity, and then unfortunately the next generation guy comes through and kind of takes their spot. Oh, Micah Muliaina not happy with that kick, but it does find touch, so that's a good start. 29 and a half minutes now remaining in this contest. The job, coach's job is basically to win a World Cup. Right, none of the other games matter, says Kevin. Well, it depends on where your priorities are. Of course, everyone will say that the World Cup is the pinnacle and what everyone will want. But for like the lower nations, you got to put it into the reality and perspective. You know, like the likes of, let's say, I feel bad for saying any team here because then it seems like I'm, like, let's just say Hong Kong, China, right? They aren't going to go to the World Cup and win it in Australia, but they want to show that their rugby's come a long way. They want to show that they're taking steps in the right direction. And I feel like for them, priorities are very different to a side, let's say, than South Africa, who are the defending champions who want to go on and get another World Cup. You know, like, there are different goals for different coaches. which, like, depending on the coach, look at Razor. You win, 76% of your games, you get sacked because the players didn't like you and you weren't quite reaching the goals that New Zealand Rugby wanted for you. Whereas some teams having 76%, they'd say, absolutely, let's keep that up. We have got there Scottie Pippen. I was one of the greatest NBA players who ever lived, playing shoulder to shoulder with Michael Jordan. Danny Herber was one of them, says, not so far. Hey man, says Jaden, do you think there were people talking bad behind your back? Do you think there were, when? Like on a recent live stream? I feel like people don't talk badly behind my back, they just talk badly to my face. Like we've been called some really interesting names on these streams. Little knock on there from Rasifanga. And every team wants to win at least one game in the World Cup. For Portugal, it meant everything to beat Fiji. That reached the quarterfinals, says Space Cow. Yeah, exactly right. Like, those little moments, even for someone like a Romania, who weren't initially going to be in the World Cup up until Spain ended up getting disqualified, like, for them just being in that World Cup environment was absolutely huge. Zimbabwe beat the Boks in the quarterfinals, New Zealand in the semis. Then lose to Italy in the final, says Big Rig. And Scotland Golden Era is done. They are going downhill. Same with Ireland and Wales. They're rebuilding. Now, another reset. Both folded. Only 7 points separating these two sides at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, who won the Under-20 Championship in 2024-25. If you're talking the the Rugby Championship, rather than the World Championship, New Zealand won on the Sunshine Coast, and they also won in South Africa last year. If you're talking about the Under-20 World Championship, currently, it is South Africa as the defending champs from 2025. That was in Spain, I think. Now, ball goes in, ball goes out, knock on from the New Zealanders at the back. No, never, what? No, now it's called as a knock on. I was about to say that wasn't off a foot, that was off a finger on the Kiwis, so they will go back. We have the Rugby World Cup 2027. It's going to be lit. See, it's Big Rig. You think Hamish will reply to your comment, but he instead replies to someone else's? And we have there New Zealand won the last two Under-20 Championships, Cameron. Is people behind your back, is people talking behind your back hurtful? I mean, some cases you probably say yes, but also I feel like it's kind of the new norm, isn't it? It's the same with like social media. It's the same with like rugby in a way. A lot of these players, if they could read what people say before they come up to them for a photo, they go, I'm your biggest fan, can I take a photo? And then, like, if they actually searched and saw that person's account, they would see that that person has badmouthed them for 2 years. But in the moment when they meet them, they go, oh, we're best friends, let's take a photo. Like, the amount of players who would have found that out, I'm sure, like, if that information was available, would be very high. We have got the okay, so New Zealand are defending champs in this championship. It's not so bad, they won it twice. They give others a chance to win it, says Cameron. What's maybe I celebrated South Africa Championship win too early? No, they have still got it confirmed. No matter what happens in this game, from here on out, South Africa are the defending champions now of the Under-20 Rugby Championship, or the current champions, I should say. But they just have to wait 25 minutes before they get to lift the trophy. Right, the mark is set here again. We're getting a lot of scrums in the second half. Seems to be the norm currently. Hopefully, Lions-Leinster, we're not going to have too many. That game is kicking off in around an hour's time. Jealousy makes them nasty. Says not so far. Ref doing it all for New Zealand. And I think at the moment, all the complaining is coming from you guys. South Africa has 4 tries, so they win the tournament. Correct. No matter what happens here, they have won the championship. Should I be pleased or insulted how many people mention Wales take delight in our demise? Well, that's the perfect example, isn't it? People like to laugh and say, oh, at least we're not Wales and whatnot. But, like, it's weird. Nowadays, you've got to insult a team to be able to praise another, rather than just praising your side. For instance, rather than just going, like, such and such team played very well, you go, this team played absolutely awfully, ha ha ha, shame on them. The other team, like, it's weird nowadays. It's changed as well in the rugby world over the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. It seems to be the negative sell rather than the positives in the world of rugby now. We're rolling more here. for the South Africans. They are looking for try number 5 in this contest, and it's moving quite nicely. New Zealand managing to avoid a penalty advantage, as if they did give one away, they'd probably go to the bin. That's a penalty awarded to New Zealand in the breakdown. Josh Finley getting over the ball, managing to get that steal. Greetings, Hamish. Says Kip, welcome in. We have there, ref doing it all for New Zealand. The ref has always made sure South Africa wins the championship, says Big Rick. And Italy is impressed, beating England. And Micah Muliaina related to Mills. He is the nephew of Mills Muliaina. Now, line-out throw here for the New Zealanders. The penalties have been relatively evenly split. New Zealand has been penalised, I believe, 6 times. South Africa 4 times. New Zealand under 20 so bad, even the ref can't help. You remember that example that I was just using, ladies and gentlemen? Gaz is a perfect example of just that. Rather than saying my team's great, as in like him South Africa, going, look at my side, look at the current crop of players we're building up. They look phenomenal. They've got great set piece. They've been dominant in the forwards. He goes, you know what I'll do? I'll insult the other team rather than praising my own. I don't understand the logic, but people are weird. Going off to the right-hand side. Nice run there from Max Farley, but a good tackle made in the wide channel from the number 9 Schoolman. People feel the need to break down their team's poor performance to nullify the good performance of the winning team. Your team only won because we had an off day? Yeah. Referees also end up wearing a lot of the brunt in terms of if a team plays badly, straight away referee's fault because it's easier than blaming the players themselves. Nice take there at the back inside of the 22. It was taken back. Is this one going into touch? No, it stays in the field of play. It'll be a bit of a relief for Jack Beneda. Now, kick downfield. People are weird. This is true. Says Capetonian. Now, Vusi Moyo. That one's going to be put into touch. Now, we have you there. Must the ref always be the blame? Sadly, some people are programmed to always blame the ref. Even when a ref has a good game, apparently they don't. It's the sad reality of people. But 22 minutes remaining here. Also got to remember, referees are humans. Like, they make mistakes. The players, they make 15 handling errors and give away 15 penalties a game. Referees are allowed 1 or 2 errors. It's just human nature. Time does this game start? It's already started. 29 points to 22. Currently 58 minutes through. South Africans have confirmed the Rugby Championship. And now they're just looking to close out this game with a win. We have their true stories. Wales with Force and Rugby World Cups in the past, Big Rick. And we have there South Africa and the under-20s. We're both in the World Cup final. It would be the final. South Africa and the under-20s. We're both in the World Cup. It would be the final. So here's Rugby ready. Looks like a bit of an injury here. That is the big man, Max Farley. Boy, he's a big individual. He's like 6'4" or something already. However, shouldn't the ref face the press after a game, says Dylan? Well, it depends because, like, again, players make the mistake. We don't go to players and go, hey, why'd you knock that ball on? Or why'd you give away that penalty in the breakdown? And maybe, players, if they were critiqued in the same way that referees were, there'd be a lot of players missing from the world of rugby. I can tell you that right now because they just wouldn't, people are harsh, I would say. People who blame the ref have to realise that the ref is making countless decisions and they have to maintain high concentration throughout. Yeah, I think you're better off blaming the law book than the ref because the laws are that intricate now that any referee could police them perfectly and there's still about 50 other laws that they have to follow. So there's always going to be something happening in a breakdown. Grubber in behind from Micah Muliaina. This one, Grubber forward is in the in-goal area. Good foot race there and almost a try by the looks of it for Oliver Gurin who's claiming it. I don't know whether or not he got to this in time. It looked like there was cover for a start. But there may be Gurin managing to win the foot race. Goes Springboks from the Sharks man, says Clifton. And knee injury for Adams. Yeah, that's a massive concern. Right, they're going to have to slow this one down quite a bit. It's because they make bad gambling bets. And then losing, blaming the ref feels more cathartic. Blame themselves. That is true. I think sports gambling has slightly ruined sport in general. We're going to see it now. Ball's close. Oh. It looks like he grounds it with his body maybe. Rather than the hands. I told you this All Black side came to play, says Cyborg. Rugby brings such joyful community engagement. Everyone have a great time. It's like we sit around the fire. Okay, we need the other camera angle. Far side, but I don't think they have one here. Gaz must be smoking something. Is our flan? Right, they got an aerial shot. Oh, the foot's in the way here. So I don't think for Bernardi we're going to actually get to see a clear grounding from Gurin. So by that logic, it would have to be no try. South Africa are consistently dominant across all their games in this competition. Very few weaknesses in any position, says Mario. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a clear grounding from these angles. I don't think it's dry, says Jasmine. And it's definitely not a clear, conclusive controlling of the ball. Yep, I agree 100% about the referee. To go for a press conference, says Bulls. And the referee's helping these New Zealand kids avoid humiliation. You've probably described it quite well there, Gaz. Kids. Yet you're here insulting them. So what does that say about yourself? Would that be, or would be a 60-plus scoreline otherwise? Says Gaz, their biggest weaknesses is the tactics. Are these players a class? Oh, they've found another camera angle. That looks like it's closer from this angle. How's Ethan Adams? Injured, unfortunately. Probably out for the season with a knee injury. Earlier on in the game, went into contact and just came up lame, unfortunately. Okay. Okay, there's no press down of the ball, but the last player to touch the ball was the All Blacks player. So it's a knock-on and goal, and it becomes a goal line dropout, I believe. And it doesn't sound good. Hopefully nothing career-ending. And can recover and get back on the horse, says Chris. Yeah, for the sake of him as well as the South African side, you hope to see him in the under-20 Rugby Champs or the Championship World Champs. Okay, referee's just explaining that one to New Zealand. Seems no try, and no try is what has been awarded. The refs had to go to face the press. We don't have any refs left, says Fleshin. Yeah, because the press, they aren't exactly innocent in everything in terms of the rugby world. They love the negative headline to just push the narrative. So, like, yeah, they would pretty much make it unbearable to be a referee, which it already really is. You got to be a tough, thick-skinned individual to be a referee because it's the most thankless job in rugby. So Razor Saka was rallied due to players disliking him. Is that what most Kiwis accept as the main reason? Pretty much. That's, yeah. It's one of the ones that they did a big report behind the scenes. They did a bit of an interview to the players. They didn't interview Crusaders players because they know that they would stand by Razor. But they interviewed the players outside of the Crusaders who all said, nah, we can get rid of him. So I guess a slightly unfair trial, but still the trial that New Zealand Rugby went with. We have there, it's even worse for Lady Ref. People are so cruel to them, even when they are 100% right. Says Big Rig. The penalty awarded to South Africa there in the breakdown. After New Zealand did have the possession, we're into the final 20 minutes of this game. And now only 15 metres out from the line for South Africa. Mika Farley straight onto the ball, wins the penalty back for New Zealand. But they've lost a lot of ground in the process there. At least we have more camera angles than the French do, says Albert. Yeah, I think they were taking a while. They were trying to find that next angle of the in-goal area. I think it was the one from the other end, like right down the end, looking straight down. It was high quality, though. We need refs like we need supporters. Well, without referees, you don't have games, which is the sad reality of it. But also, like, just having like a robot ref doesn't fix anything, because robot referees would give away probably 50 penalties a game, because the amount of times that players infringe that they don't get penalised for is actually quite high. That's a free kick there, going against New Zealand. Didn't travel 5 metres. Junior Springboks look a little dodgy today, in my opinion. We looked really good, but today, as well as the second half against Argentina, are worrying. He's sensible. It's interesting. I think that no Ethan Adams changed the dynamic of this team a little bit in terms of their attacking plans. Another knock on. Both sides have kind of let the screws loose here in the second half. It seems to be a lot less free-flowing. How many more minutes left? Still another 19 minutes remaining. 8 handling errors from South Africa throughout this contest. 6 against New Zealand, so 14 in total between these two sides. I think that number will continue to increase as well. We asked everyone who doesn't like you, and they unanimously said you suck, so hands tied. Says Big Rig. Strict referees, or stricter referees are needed. Not these refs that fall under pressure because of the crowd boo-boo-booing. Very little thing. I don't want 50 penalties a game, but I want the same punishments for the same infractions. Yeah, that's where your consistency comes into it. But again, the laws are so difficult and so intricate. You gotta cut half the law book out, make it simple and straightforward for referees so that they can just referee the game out there without having the TMO jumping in. Have TMO for foul play and just go from there. Has the championship been secured for South Africa? My understanding is that a bonus point will win it. Correct, yes. So they are currently champions, waiting for that full-time siren, but they have to get through the last 18 minutes of this game first. Too many grey areas, exactly right. And interpretation is a terrible thing because, like, one law almost slightly cancels out another one. But now, charge down. New Zealand managing to push it into touch, but it will be the South African line out about 20 metres out from their own line. This game's still close enough to have maybe a late swing in momentum. Another change being made here. It will be JD Hatting who will make his way on. These Boks are already champions. Says Rugby ready. And the All Boks always get it worse than everyone else. Says Rugby ready. And also we've got the, sounds like a hard-fought match. Good effort by both teams. Yeah, I think they're just tired at this point. It's been a fatiguing competition as a whole. Both of these sides, this has been a grueling 63 minutes, even with the stoppages involved. We'll see Moyo. He will clear that one into touch again. Let's give New Zealand the line-out throw about 36 metres out. Moyo not happy with where the touch judge says that it goes out. New Zealand currently do have themselves 2 bonus points from this game, which would finish them 3rd in the overall Rugby Championship standings. Running around for 60 minutes while enormous men tackle you is tiring, says Big Rig. The ball is on the side of the Kiwis, only just there. But 40 metres out for line. Sinton goes back across to Micah Muliaina, I should say. Interception pass could have been thrown there. Now ball on the outside, Logan Williams. He's probably had a slightly less impactful game than he would have liked. Another knock on, this time from the Kiwis, and now the counter-attack coming for the Boks forward pass. They'll go back for the scrum. I guess, do you hear that? Adams might be up for the rest of the season, hope not. Says Herbert. Is this match still going? Looking like a storm coming in Cape Town, and Russie has been spotted a lot lately at school games. Not for prospecting, but to learn tactics. I'm very dissatisfied with the young boys at home. Well done, Kiwis. Says Big B. I do think that South Africa are the receiving end of controversial decisions more often than other teams, but it's not only us, World Rugby, to blame for a majority of controversies. Yeah. And there has been a lot, tell you what. Speaking of a lot, 18,138 in attendance, which is, I think, almost, they've said 20,000 combined for the first 2 rounds, so they've almost doubled it for this final round of the Under-20s Rugby Champs. Fantastic to see the support that is bringing. Another penalty going against New Zealand, second time pre-engaging from Alex Hewitt in that number 18 jersey. He's been switching between starting lineup and the reserves. As a score up to date, it is, other than it's 65 minutes through now. Oh, Vusi Moyo shot at the posts. They want to get that lead of more than 7 here. I think there's one thing every nation can agree on. So here's Big Rig. And also this chest-tight tackle rule is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I understand why they've got it, but at the same time, it seems a little bit too, the opposite direction, if that makes sense. How's the feeding programs in schools in New Zealand, says Maury? From what I've seen, they're not too bad. The New Zealand schoolboy competition's quite solid. But this group, this has been a pretty solid showing from them. You got to remember, they lost to Argentina last week. They nearly lost to Australia. Vusi Moyo not quite having the distance on that one. To be fair, he was kicking from 55 metres out, so it wasn't exactly a nice little tap over, but does keep the score sitting 29-22 with 14 minutes remaining. But yeah, this side, they had a lot of pressure on their shoulders heading into this competition, comparatively with that last New Zealand under-20 side who did win the under-20 Rugby Championship and also came runner-up in last year's World Champs. But yeah, this side's still got a wee way to go. But playing sides like South Africa, like Argentina, like Australia can only be a bonus for them. And don't forget, these lads are kids. Exactly right. Like, the amount of, like, stress for young players nowadays because of social media is, like, absolutely brutal. In the old school days of being an under-20s player, you played the game, you got to go out there with your mates, thoroughly enjoy it. There might be one random article in the paper about your game. Nowadays, every single thing you do is under a microscope, and people will be critical of every little thing. So, like, yeah, it's definitely not a fun era growing up as a young rugby player, but it's not just rugby, it's the all sports side of things too. But it puts so much pressure on them, and that's why these young guys, some of them do handle that pressure and go to the next level, and others just can't handle it. Rugby is inherently a dangerous sport. Nothing will mitigate the risk of injuries and nasty collisions. Trying to mitigate that by penalising players won't do anything. Yeah, it all happens in a split second anyway. Like that one, that was head on head. There might be at least a penalty against New Zealand, and they're actually going to go upstairs. Is probably a yellow card, I would say. Some of the best under-20 Boks are currently playing in the URC. They might get called in. Under-20 World Cup, exactly right. They've got Siaya, who's getting to start games for the Sharks. You've got Cheswell Uster, who gets to start games for the Bulls. Someone said Yako Williams is still young enough to be eligible in that department as well. Klekane, I assume, is now too old. That boy is massive. But yeah, there are plenty of great options. Marcus Miller, once he's back from his injury. Yeah, that's head on head here. They don't believe it's sudden and significant. That looks significant from that angle. That looks like a yellow card kind of territory for the Kiwis here. The Sharks game is a blowout. Talk about too little, too late. Where's this energy during the season? They do it every year, though, the Sharks, unfortunately. Like, they'll go into their game next week, and they'll probably win it by about the same margin. You were thirsty there for that water. I was worried my voice was about to end up disappearing. We've still got another game around the corner, too, and that is going to be the contest between the Lions and Leinster. That is 3 versus 4, or now 4 versus 5 on the URC standings. Right, no mitigation. This sounds like it might actually be a red card here. Is Michael Muliaina related to Mills? He is his nephew. 13 New Zealand can be lower. No mitigation. Pahulu is getting a red card. The Sharks have destroyed my draw pick on Super Brew, says Craig. Okay. For the last 13 minutes of this game, New Zealand are going to be down a man. And this is where South Africa can secure this contest. Pimby is on his feet after getting the absolute knocked out of him. And a red card tackle by their fly half earlier. Benetton celebrating a turnover as if they're scoring a try. Yep, so red card here for Siale Pahulu. Make his way off the field. We have there, can't take this bad ref anymore for both teams, says Jaden. Well, at least you've said for both teams. You're not saying it's just one biased against one team here. And the Sharks are the most expensive team currently in South Africa, yet they are the baddest team, says Space. Yeah, sadly, money for the Sharks and Springboks hasn't translated to results. And it happens. Sometimes you have a side with all the talent in the world, but they just can't get the job done in the moments that matter. And then you chuck them in a Springbok kit, and apparently they are completely different players under Rassi. But now rolling more, they've gone backwards a bit here. Skurman goes across to Ahmed. Where can I live stream the game? Says Marius, if you're in South Africa, Super Sport is your best option. Pity the French don't quite try quite as hard to find angles. And the Sharks play better without Eben. Says on the right. They still struggle. Well, they actually sometimes play better without all their Springboks, let alone just one. Now Skurman, big knock on, but they'll go back for the penalty again. against the New Zealanders. This is probably back towards the warning again. As school rugby is so strong in South Africa because of the money. Schools spend like 6 million rand a year with top professional coaches. I don't see the Boks getting reds, do you? Says Rugby Ready. What's the correlation there? Like you're saying that this under-20 South African side, their discipline's better? Is that the comparison there? And we have got there, Hamish, have you noticed the inconsistencies regarding sledging officiating? Lebok was penalised for celebrating an attack of Irish players last year, and it happened against Leinster as well recently. I think, once again, it just comes down to consistency. I don't have SuperSport Bud. Well, sadly, there aren't really too many free options around unless you're willing to get a virus on like your PC or phone, because those are easy enough to come by. Ahmed passes across, another knock on there. It's going to be the advantage for New Zealand. Logan Williams. Oh, ripped away by Scorman. They'll go back. Oh, he looks like he's dealing with a bit of cramp there too, Scorman. The legs are starting to look a little bit tender. After a decade, the Boks got many cards because of high tackles. They were too tall, this is on the right. And what are they trying to achieve with the Suriname rule trial? Trying to avoid young players having brain damage by 20 is the goal there. But it's still, like you said, it's not going to change too much because players still get hit in the head. Like, they've got the Suriname rule, saw a red card for head-on-head contact. How much does New Zealand then spend on under-20s? Oh, I think they'll spend at least a $50 note every once in a while. But no, I'm not actually sure. Yeah, I mean, they are not malicious or cynical. Okay. But now, 10 minutes remaining. Here in this match, another penalty awarded in favour of New Zealand. That was sideways in the scrum, joining from the South African number 18 and Vandenberg. They're fine with them having brain damage after the age of 20. Yeah. Well, they're still not really. But unfortunately, World Rugby are trying to stop themselves from getting sued. In 10 years' time, when players start unfortunately passing away at a young age, which they, the reality is they will, they're just trying to avoid lawsuits. Because, the amount of head contact that these young guys take now, as well as just professional rugby players in general, it's absolutely brutal. You know, those scans that they do of the brain, there'll be some interesting ones coming out soon, I would say. That's going to be not straight from New Zealand. What is clean sweep? 3 wins from 3. So all of the victories, as good as you can get. And I think it would be clean sweep with bonus points from every game as well for the Junior Boks. Still up by the 7 points here. And we have got there anyone here young enough to make the under-20 team. Says on the right. And also whatever you put in the collection plate at church, given to the under-20s team. Right, Skurman looks like he doesn't want to make his way off the field, but he's going to be removed. And that is going to be Jaden Brits now to make his way on. Players are bigger, faster, and therefore more brutal injuries will come about. Exactly, yeah. And the whole thing with bringing fresh guys off the bench who are just as strong, just as quick, just as brutal, you don't really get a break from it throughout the 80 minutes. That's why it takes a whole different breed of person to consistently take to that field, which is also why I feel like the criticism towards players is just not justified. Because they're the ones taking the contact. Us guys sitting in a chair or a comfy couch looking at them pretty much take massive shots time after time. It's easy for us to say, oh, you should have run it a bit harder. But, the players probably feel a whole different thing. What's happening with time remaining? Currently 8 minutes remain. In this contest, another scrum reset. There's been 3 so far for the Boks. Probably been about that same amount. Well, in fact, no, there's been more than that. And the scrum penalty, and that's another scrum penalty, this time to New Zealand. I could do way better than that. Hold my beer, says Big Rick. Wonder if any scrum caps, or if all wear scrum caps, what will be the result of head injuries. Normally, you still get them. You don't get them as badly in some cases, but your brain still gets rattled around, unfortunately, whether you got a scrum cap or not. And yeah, we see the players grounding there on the near side of the scrum. Vandenberg having a little bit of difficulty here since making his way onto the field. 12 penalties against New Zealand in this game. 11 against the South Africans. So in the end, how many total injuries for the Boks? Who missed the World Championship. At this stage, Ethan Adams seems like the main one. I haven't seen too many others that I can think of. In terms of the early games, I don't think they lost too many guys to injury. Maybe from that first game, they had 1 or 2 out injured. Penalty advantage now for the Kiwis. They will be awarded that penalty too. Penalty losing with 41. Geez, that's a brutal scoreline, isn't it? As well, Rugby responsible for all these young lads taking PEs to get better, bigger and stronger. It's a grey area, I would say. And for you, Hamish. And pressure, what? Pressure? What do you mean? What's that in regards with? I can't even remember when I said pressure. I'm sure I did, but I'm not sure what the context is. But now ready to throw this one in. So we a line-out chance just out from the Boks 5-metre line. Benetton just scored a try. So Matthew now short line out. It looks like they're going to be able to control this one nicely. The Boks trying to keep that ball in, but it's ripped out. A nice bit of work from Jake Frost. Now 10 metres out, Muliaina. It's another above sternum one. They haven't really been enforced that much throughout the other games, I don't think. At least the ones that I was commentating. And in South Africa, our PEs are beef and mealies. Says Yanko. Oh, an injury here, just as we were talking about it. Who's that? That looked like Vuyambuera, who is down. He's trying to make his way back on side. Out to the right-hand side again. A mile away from that try line, 5 metres out. If they score and convert, we're back to level, by the way, which is something that I haven't really thought about. I felt like this game was done and dusted, knock on from New Zealand, but they go back for that advantage again. It's now 12 penalties apiece against these two sides. Does New Zealand still have time to win this? They do, but South Africa, they plan on making it difficult. Their defence has been solid throughout the second half. New Zealand only scoring the once. Minutes left currently, still 5 minutes remaining on the clock. 14 above sternum penalty. 2 on the bounce. There's the referee as well, so I would think that they are not too far away from a potential yellow. New Zealand are currently playing with 14 as well, I should mention. There is a player down between the posts. I think that's going to be Wambuera. Messi debuted at 16, so don't hide under pressure, says Splash TV. I assume you're referring to what I said about 10 minutes ago, but you would have heard from what you were listening to that I said that some people handle the pressure and do go up to that next level and others do crack under it. Now, using an example of one of the best footballers in the world is probably a good example of someone who did well under pressure. You know, but if you chose a random bloke who gave up football at 25, probably a good example, someone who didn't. W Stream says Googler, and there as well. Does South Africa have a clean sweep? Almost. They have to win this game first. They've still got 4 minutes. And New Zealand are down by 7, and only a couple metres short of the try line now. 41-7, Sharks win. Anyone call 46-7 for the Sharks game now? Micah Muliaina, flat ball to Logan Williams, offloads up. And it's a good tackle there from, I think it was Rasifange. He was kind of falling backwards, tackling him behind his head, and somehow still made a decent one. Mika Fale, just 1 metre short now for New Zealand between the posts. Back across to the left. They haven't gotten it, but that's going to be at least a yellow card for Jack Beneda. It was an extended arm. Did he get 2 hands? If he only got 1, he is disappointed. I think this might be yellow card. Maybe even penalty try for New Zealand. Deliberate knock on. Is there any cover? They've said deliberate and they've said there was an overlap. They're just going to check to see whether or not there was cover defence. Penalty try, it could well be. It would be a yellow card for Beneda, which would bring us to 14 versus 14 for the final couple minutes of this game. No way, that's a penalty try. It looked like there was some cover for South Africa. They need the wide angle, and that will determine whether or not there was enough cover for South Africa to be able to still make that challenge. Clearly last defender is the call. Nothing in there. I'll ask you the question, Rugby Ready. Had that been New Zealand doing the same thing, would you have said the same? Because you've got to take that bias out of it a little bit. And I think that in most games we've seen that's at least yellow card with potentially a penalty try thrown in there too. Good day, Hamish and chat. Welcome in, Hano. How was the game? Bulls getting a massive win over Zebra, so you'll be happy with that result. Looking forward to Nabalele returning. Yeah, the fact that he's still under the age of 20 and can play in the juniors is absolutely phenomenal. Right, the penalty try is going to be awarded. Yes, but quietly, says Rugby Ready. Well done, the Sharks. You wake up too late, but you make us proud. And great game, man. Enjoyed it. Says Hano. Game on, 29-29. With 3 minutes remaining, Bernardi will make his way off the field, and it's 14-14 for the final 3 minutes. This is the same as what we saw last year between these two sides, but the two sides have got much less in terms of the points on the board. But 29, all Jake White is coaching the South African school team. Says Anthony. Geez, that team will get a lot of knowledge from their man. Looking to run it out. That was a hard collision. Any three-pointer here could win this game for either side. I will clarify again. They won't win the Rugby Championship, New Zealand, if they win this game. They gave the points to South Africa on the scoreboard. It's 29-29, ladies and gents. We'll have to adjust that because that is very wrong. Hang on. 29. There we go. And a drop ball from the South Africans again. The handling has been pretty sad at times for both of these sides throughout the match. They've kicked it downfield though, New Zealand, so they've given the ball straight back to the South Africans, now running it back again. 45 metres out from their line. That is going to be the number 23. Muller, penalty awarded to New Zealand. The player didn't really roll away. He rolled and then you pushed him back in as the comment from the referee. So now New Zealand with 2 minutes remaining. What's wrong with the score? It's an online scoreboard and it doesn't seem to like New Zealand scoring. But they've called for the shot here. This is a big kick from this far out, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that noise was that I just made. These two sides just know how to take it down to the wire, get everyone on the edge of the seat. And we have got there Jake White left. I would say this game was worth staying up for. And FFS says Splash TV and come in the box, says Brett. Now Micah Muliaina here is listening to the raining of boos from the crowd, all 18,000 of them. But Micah, oh God, he shanked that one badly. Away to the side. And it goes dead. That wasn't the choice for the Kiwis. Of course, if it goes over, everyone goes, that was the choice. But no, it was just a bit too far out. Cohen Norrie never returned to the field, by the way, as well. He actually must have failed his HIA. And New Zealand don't deserve to win, cheats. Says Gaz, well, ironically, these two sides have given away the same amount of penalties. So it's been quite even in that department. Isaiah goes over. Reminder box will be up by 4 right now. And they didn't go for 3. Says Rugby Ready. But there's no guarantee they would have scored it because New Zealand stole the line out beforehand. Or big run from Micah Fale up to the halfway line. Box want that big steal. Vusi Moyo is made for these type of moments. Choked, says Gaz. And WTF was that, says Blast TV. Yeah, he definitely shanked it away to the right-hand side, but this game's still not over. This could end in a draw between these two sides. And if it was a draw, New Zealand would finish second in the Rugby Championship standings. And again, we wouldn't see a clean sweep for a side that win the competition. That was dumb from New Zealand. Kicking it in behind, trying to go for... the coverage is also cut out. So we don't get to see where that one landed. I think the crowd got to the poor kid, says Big Rig. Yeah, having 18,000 people booing you is probably a weird feeling. If this match is a draw, is it considered a clean sweep? No. It's considered the same as New Zealand has done the last 2 years, where every time it's been a side who are going to win the Under-20 Rugby Championship, they have drawn one of their games. And New Zealand and South Africa, they have only played each other twice in the Under-20 Rugby Championships. One of those was a draw. We've actually got an interruption on the Sky coverage here in New Zealand. It is back in now, though. We are after the 80 minutes. South Africa don't need to try and win this game. They can accept the draw and take out the Rugby Championship here. No matter what happens, it's whether or not they want the win or whether they're happy it's been overthrown, knocked on by New Zealand, and now South Africa, Ref Rasifanga, they will get the last attacking chance. They go across to the right. It seems like they want to play here, the Boks. This is a big risk because they could go on to lose this game by doing so. No, now they're going to kick it into touch. They accept the draw. South Africa are your under-20 Rugby Championship winners, but no clean sweep. The same as the last 2 years. We have seen the winner have 2 wins, 1 draw, but a 29-29 thriller between these two sides to close out the under-20 Rugby Championship competition. I'm not supporting the under-20 Bok team for the World Cup. Why not? They just won the championship. I think the All Blacks played their heart out today. They deserve to win, says Cyborg. It was their best game of the whole competition. Discipline's still a little bit shaky, but in terms of comparing it to Argentina and Australia, their first 2 matches, this was a much better performance as a whole from the New Zealand boys. South Africa scored the 4 tries. That is what they needed for the bonus point. 1 less. It could have looked very different, but they got the job done early. They put the water in the basement, as the terminology goes, and they secured the championship for 2026. Borland will be in the Curry Cup, it seems, says Annie. Yeah, it's great news because I like watching Borland last year. They had old, what's-his-face out on the wing. Plays for the 7 side of things. Donovan Don. What a wild match, says Brett. Yeah, great way to finish the competition. And again, builds massive hype towards that under-20 World Championship that is taking place in the end of June. Great job, Hamish. I don't like accepting the draw. I don't like the tactics, but at least we're still the best. Well, at least you found a positive from it, Rugby Ready. That's all you can really do, is it? And too late. How are you, brother Hamish, says Birdie. I'm doing very well, although you may be too late for this game, Birdie, but you're not too late for the next one. It's going to be Lions versus Leinster just around the corner. That one is going to be a big clash in the URC. A draw is better than losing. That is true. And I think that both of these sides, evenness in this game. Penalty count was even. Running meters, I think, would be relatively even too, to be fair. 4-0 tour incoming. Says Splash TV, and regardless, draw is better than a loss. Says not so far. And New Zealand came back nicely. Yeah, they fought hard, definitely after that red card, but then South Africa getting that yellow as well near the end did hurt their chances a little bit. The miss kick from Micah Muliaina near the end of the game, although, to be fair, didn't change the end result of the championship, which was the overall win for the South Africans. A fixed draw, ref screwed the Junior Boks. Cheating prick, says Gaz. Were you watching the game, Gaz, or were you just listening to it out of curiosity? Because I feel like if you saw the referee, you probably haven't used the right terminology there. We have got there for sure, brother. Bulls got a nice win to go up to the 3rd. A well, tense game, tense chat. Thank you, Hamish. And I will mention with this draw as well, New Zealand finished 2nd in the Rugby Championship standings. They needed to get themselves 2 bonus points. They got 3 from this game with the draw in hand. We are there. Glad our Kiwi boys put up a good fight. Wasn't expecting this result, says Big Boy Games. There were a few people who were riding New Zealand out completely from this contest, from how they've played in the last 2 matches. The TMO was South African. They still blame the refs, says Big Rig. I think some people, no matter what happens in a game, blame the referee. That's just the reality is, like, there are always those people. And I always say it, like, a referee, they're going to have a couple calls that might not be right, but it's just reality. At the end of the day, referees, just like New Zealand, just like South Africa, in terms of their players, referees will make an occasional mistake. Do you think New Zealand and South Africa go into a game going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop the ball 15 times. I'm going to get penalised 12 times out there on the park. No, that's the mistake that happens at the time due to the adrenaline, due to the rush, due to how quickly little moments can happen. Thought Boks by 25. I wrote off New Zealand. The Boks looked way better. Says Rugby Ready. Had a bit of the Rugby World Cup final feel with the red card and the late yellow. South Africa winning the trophy at the end. Says Ryan. She was fair, strict, and didn't take any nonsense, says Cyborg. And also, Na was happy with this Boks. They should have won, and they drew not good enough. At least the Boks still won the trophy. And Junior Boks robbed, says Gaz there. I feel like Gaz is going to be talking about this game for the next, 5 years, isn't he? How, he's going to be randomly waking up at night going, that ref hurt my feelings. But, no, it was a good game overall. Very exciting. Screw this tournament anyways. Yeah. Well, I think the tournament would actually prefer if you didn't watch it. And I think most people who are viewing it would as well. But we have got there well done to both teams. Honestly, thinking it's just South African blaming the ref. It's just as bad as people blaming the ref in the first place. You remember the AB's fans, ex-coaches and TV pundits blaming ref 2023 World Cup. Yeah, it is in no way just South Africans. And I feel like, yes, they get a lot of bad stick for it, but it's not South Africa that only blame the referee. You look at any game over the weekend of the URC. You look at, Ulster Stormers was an interesting one. Both sides were blaming the referee in that contest. But I think it seems to be nowadays human nature to try and find an excuse that isn't just your players sometimes not playing well enough. So, you can go, my players were completely fine, must have been something else. The players, they dropped the ball 15 times, must have been a different slippery ball than they're used to using. Drawing to a weak New Zealand team is embarrassing, to be fair, but winning a rugby championship is not. And that is what South Africa were able to do here, winning it for the first time in their young careers. And of course, for a lot of these boys, that might not be the only trophy that they race throughout their careers too. It's not about holding the trophy, it's also about beating your opponent. Says Yaniev. But yes, still no clean sweep in the Under-20 Rugby Championship. South Africans are the best at it. Those says dime till death. But I feel like some South Africans would say that the overseas countries are the best at it. It just depends on where your loyalty lies. Maybe Black's closing ground on South Africa. I have a feeling the ABs will do a similar this year. They'll probably go one better, says Big Boy Games. And both sides blaming the ref in a draw implies the ref got it right, says Big Rig. And also we have the clean sweep next year. That's the spirit. That's the positivity. And you've got a World Championship Under-20s comp just around the corner. Maybe clean sweep is there. We have got the FU what is a weak New Zealand team, says Isaac Banda in there as well. Yeah, a lot of people consider this side not quite the same caliber as what we saw last year, but these boys showed that they had much more heart than those first two games. Up against the Aussies, it was close to letting that one slip, but the bonus point is what helped them out. Up against the Argentines, that was the worst performance we've seen from a New Zealand under-20 side in the past maybe 4 years or so, but they bounced back. They found a way, and in a game where they were ruled out, they came out there, they pushed this Boks side well and truly, and, made a decent name for themselves as a young team. A third World Cup next year. This guy deserves a good Brian Beers, says Michael. I missed out on a braai once. Well, not even a braai, just a type of food that goes on the braai. Is it a boerewors or is it the drovers? I think it's the boerewors, right? I missed out. They had it at the supermarket. I was like, hey, that's a South African sausage. But then I didn't get it because I was like, that's weird. I guess they have that now every time. So I left, went back the next week. No more South African sausages. And then they haven't had them since. Didn't watch, just listened. South Africa losing Adams could not have been the main factor we drew. No, it certainly didn't help their backline. It took a little bit longer, but I think Vusi Moyo showed the experience off of the bench. He stepped up in the moment where they really needed him to. And, a couple assists along the way for Moyo. Solid off the kicking tee. He too missed a kick in this contest, which was a bit unfamiliar for that man who normally has that high kicking accuracy. But, yeah, both guys, maybe that just a little bit more pressure. Boerewors goes on the bride, Drovers air dried. So who's the winner of the Rugby Championship? I didn't catch the game. So South Africa will win this Under-20s Rugby Championship. New Zealand will finish second, Argentina third, and Australia last, I believe. We have there also, these guys still get ID'd at the pub, says Big Rick. Going for three and silly kicks instead of the open play is why we drew. Says Rugby Ready, and Lions led by donkeys. Great players, poor tactics. Says Rugby Ready. And why was Gaz so salty? Because he seems to hate anyone that's not his team. And again, he's probably the example of what I said earlier on about how, any way to avoid accountability for your own side. But, yeah, I don't know. Some people are strange. But, they show passion in different ways than others. So I guess you got to praise them for the amount of support that they have for their team. But the way that they support their team is to just badmouth every other side that exists. We have got there the All Blacks will come hard. Will be coming hard for the greatest rivalry later this year. Says Project. And I know we needed the Boks to win it by one, just for old time's sake. Says Martin. It seemed like there was going to be that last-minute kick for someone. Micah Miliaina attempting it from 45 out, hitting it away to the right. Vusi Moyo, he attempted one from 55 and didn't quite have the distance that he required. He probably got it 50 of the 55 metres in the end. But yeah, nonetheless, this Rugby Championship was fixed for New Zealand as usual, but they didn't win it. So like they fixed it so that they could finish second, guess? Is that the logic behind that one? Seems like a weird thing to do. Surely if you're going to fix it, you'd at least make them win the competition, wouldn't you? You think Tamaiti will be back sometime during the tour to the Republic? Don't think so. I think he's maybe November at the earliest, but relatively serious spinal injury for Tamaiti Williams that I don't think he's going to be back from in the near future. Is there a reason why the championship has been played in South Africa 2 years in a row? I actually don't know. I think it's to do with where the under-20 Rugby Championship World Championship has taken place, so that it's the same time zone and the players get used to it or something along those lines, or maybe South Africa just had the biggest bid. And maybe he thinks that it's like cheating on a test. You don't shoot for an A because it's not believable, says Yanko. And fix it by making a Bok TMO and making New Zealand in second brilliant plan. Yeah, it's really not one of the best conspiracy theories we've ever heard, is it? But it is what it is. So when is Argentina playing? If they played earlier on. They lost narrowly to the Australians. New Zealand under-20s won the wooden spoon. They finished second in the standings, Gaz. So I guess they got the silver. I believe the ref was both sided. Both teams made mistakes, and that scoreline is right. Thanks, guys, and thanks, Hamish. The great commentary always 200%, says Brett. And no, they didn't, says Big Rick. And they did as well. But nonetheless, we've got another live stream, ladies and gentlemen, and that one's taken place in only like 5 minutes' time. 1 second, Gaz is drunk. He might be. We gotta maybe cut him some slack. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm typing in this one to see what time that next stream is supposed to start. 1 second. Next stream is starting in 9 minutes' time. Might as well do an all-nighter then. I'm going to be. Leinster versus Lions. You're happy or you're free to join us if you're keen to stay up a little bit longer. There's Mother's Day here in New Zealand. So we're going to be sleeping for about 3 hours after this next stream. And then from there, I'm going to be going out for lunch with my mum and my nana. We're going to get cheesecake as the dessert because I bloody love this stuff. Nope, they came last. These guys, no, you're looking at the table from before what's just happened, Gaz. You got to look at the updated table. But also, you just said that they were match fixing and the competition was rigged in their favour. Again, if you were going to rig a competition, you wouldn't rig it so you finish dead last. Of course, people wouldn't expect it to be rigged, unless you're saying, are they trying to work with the bookies maybe? Is that where it comes from? Congratulations to the Junior Boks. Yeah, boy, says Brenton. And guess had a few too many brandies and cokes, says Elfland. And now I'm drunk too, and I'm not being a diss. Blackfern stole his girlfriend, says Big Rig. In there as well, Junior Boks lowered their standards today, a shocking performance. Says Gads, they will be slightly disappointed with how they played. I will give you that. They have far too many handling errors out there on the field, almost into double digits by the end. The penalty count was 12 apiece against the two sides. But, you know, in terms of competitive, close games to finish out a competition, you don't get much closer than that one, unless you place a big bet on the second ending or on New Zealand finishing second, says Big Rick. But yeah, nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. 7 minutes. Be sure to tune back in. And from there, we're going to be ready to go for Lions versus Leinster. But thank you all for watching. We will see you all for that next one.